the humane treatment of people who are coming here to escape violence and many to seek a better life.
Now, there were demonstrations. That's Fox's Kevin Cork. There were demonstrations in Washington state outside a detention center holding immigrants facing deportation proceedings. This after a man showed up Saturday with a rifle throwing fire bombs at the facility until police shot and killed him. A friend of Willem Van Spronsen called him an anarchist who probably wanted to die that way. Iran's president says he's willing to negotiate with the U.S. on a nuclear deal if American sanctions are lifted. European foreign ministers are meeting today to talk about Iran. Fox's Simon Owen, live in London.
Dave, arriving for talks in Brussels, Britain's foreign secretary insisting it's still possible to save the Iran nuclear deal.
Well, it isn't dead yet, and we are totally committed to keeping the Middle East denuclearized.
Jeremy Hunt saying if the deal collapses and Iran acquires a nuclear weapon, that would create a toxic and dangerous situation.
We think there is still some closing but small window to keep the deal alive.
Britain, France and Germany are attempting to rescue the agreement after the US pulled out last year and Iran announced 2 violations in recent weeks. Dave?
Simon, what's now Tropical Depression Barry is moving north. Could cause some flooding inland. Did not cause the catastrophic flooding around New Orleans as feared.
Over the next several days, we will start our preliminary damage assessments.
That's Governor John Bell Edwards. More than 90 people were rescued in 11 parishes, though. This is Fox News.
Skies are clear. We have 75 degrees. 5:02 is our time on this Monday morning on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. It's going to be more than just hot this week in Chicago and most of Illinois. The National Weather Service says it's going to be dangerously hot. Temperatures in the 90s today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. The heat index will make it feel closer to 100. Forecasters say when the temperature jumps into the upper 90s later in the week, those heat index numbers will soar near 110. A Milwaukee-bound Amtrak train was involved in a deadly wreck in Illinois. It happened yesterday afternoon in the Chicago suburb of Morton Grove. Amtrak says none of the 254 people on board the Hiawatha train were hurt. The driver of a minivan died when he drove onto the tracks. The wreck delayed the train by a couple of hours. Amtrak spokesman Jason Abrams says railroad personnel are cooperating with local law enforcement investigating the incident. Chicago police are searching for 2 wanted for questioning in a deadly stabbing over the weekend on the CTA Red Line. Authorities say Troy Johnson got into an argument with another person while riding a train near the 100 block of West Cermak. The other person took out a knife and stabbed Johnson to death before getting off the train at the Chinatown stop. Police have released photographs of the 2 wanted people. Authorities have identified a mother and her 2 teenage sons after they were killed in a murder-suicide last week in Elmhurst. DuPage County Sheriff's Office says Jamie Jones shot and killed 16-year-old Jason Harris and 19-year-old Nathan Harris in her home on Willow Road Friday night. She then set that home on fire and turned the gun on herself. The incident initially began as a fire investigation, but was later ruled a murder-suicide. Another strategy is being used to capture that gator in Chicago's Humboldt Park lagoon. City's Animal Care and Control will close the east half of the park this morning in order to prevent crowds from gathering. Officials believe this will create a more calm and quiet environment, which will increase the odds of capturing the reptile. In addition to the closure, the gator experts from Florida have been brought in to help. There was some tension over the weekend over the possibility of immigration raids taking place in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says the city will not cooperate with federal police.
We will not, as a city, do anything to facilitate the heartless work of ICE, who's been weaponized by this president.
Dozens of volunteers fanned out across the city yesterday to try and disrupt any ICE activity. As of last night, there have been no confirmed reports of large-scale activity in Chicago. President Trump said the arrest of legally prosecuted criminals would start over the weekend in 10 cities. A Chicago priest is accused of sexual abuse more than 2 decades ago, and now Cardinal Blaise Cupich announced over the weekend that William McFarland has been removed from his duties pastorally at Nativity of Our Lord in Bridgeport and St. Gabriel Parish in Canaryville. He was asked to step aside from ministry after the archdiocese was informed of an allegation of sexual abuse that happened in 1997 before Father McFarland entered seminary. Illinois' push to count everyone in the state in next year's census means children and teachers in the state schools may play a part as well. The Illinois State Board of Education last week announcing a census ambassador program. The idea is to have teachers talk with kids about the importance of being counted. 5:06 on AM 560, The Answer. Other stories we're following this morning. 9 people face charges after being arrested in an undercover sex sting in Rockford. It was part of the department's approach to fighting street-level commercial sex trade. Senator Dick Durbin is calling President Trump careless for his tweet encouraging some progressive congresswomen of color to leave the country after they attacked verbally the United States.
When we are dealing with mass arrest and mass deportation and that kind of careless rhetoric by the president, it doesn't help one bit.
On CBS's Face the Nation, the Illinois Democrat highlighted Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar's immigration story. Ben Zobrist may not return to the Cubs for a while, speaking before yesterday's win. Manager Joe Maddon says the veteran utility man won't be back anytime soon. He has been on the restricted list since the first week of May. Northern Illinois University sports fans will have a more high-tech way to access game tickets. University officials say the school will allow cell phone tickets for single game and mini plan purchases for all of the Husky ticketed sports this year. The school has used some mobile ticketing for other events since last December. The Cubs drove in 3 with home runs. They beat the Pirates 8-3 at Wrigley Field. Cubs skipper Joe Maddon.
I mean, it's rest. I mean, people don't want to listen to that because it's way too simple. It's just a simple concept. If you're more rested, you tend to do what you do better. If you're not, you tend to do it not as good.
Jason Hayward, Albert Almora Jr., and Kyle Schwarber with the home runs. Chad Pinder scored a walk-off run on a throwing error. A's edged the White Sox 3-2 in Oakland. Cubs welcome the Reds tonight. Kyle Hendricks on the bump. Sox visit the Royals with Lucas Giolito going for the Pale Hose. Diamond DeShields 26, Sky over the Dallas Wings 89-79. For the second year in a row, a first-time winner is walking away with the trophy at the John Deere Classic. South African golfer Dylan Fratelli won the weekend tournament yesterday, 7 under, 64 on Sunday at Deere Run. The News is a service of T-Mobile with data and texting included in over 200 countries and destinations. T-Mobile for Business keeps you connected at the corner coffee shop or a cafe halfway around the world. Business is changing. Are you with them? Visit T-Mobile.com/business. 5:09 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager is looking at the future of North Korea.
If Kim Jong-un will give up a lot of his nuclear capabilities and in some way lighten up his totalitarian rule, because flattery from the President of the United States goes a long way, then let him flatter this barbarian.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. Exclusions apply.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text TRY to 350-350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text TRY to 350-350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's TRY to 350-350.
Hey, my friend's retail store was the victim of IoT password theft.
Yep. Cybercriminals are taking over security cameras, payment systems, and other IoT devices by exploiting vulnerabilities.
What if they target us and our dispersed network?
We're secured with Barracuda. We have advanced firewalls for our sites, enhanced security for our cloud infrastructure, and total email protection.
Such a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma. Here's to progress.
5:11 AM 560 traffic center time. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Traffic is moving well on the expressways and tollways at this hour. The Edens is fine at 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. Kennedy, 20 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound still the same, and the reversibles are open inbound. The Eisenhower's at its base travel time, 29 minutes either way between 390 and downtown. Goes for the Stevenson at 34 minutes either way between 355 Lakeshore Drive. The ride's still good. 15 minutes, 95th to downtown, outbound 15 as well. I-57 Bishop Ford Freeway is fine. No problems Freeport on the tollways right now or in Northwest Indiana. Downtown closures, Columbus, Congress, and Jackson remain after the taste till tomorrow morning. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and sun, hot and humid, breezy today, high 92. It'll be partly cloudy, warm tonight, low 74. Clouds warm and humid, thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 86. And then clouds and sun, hot and humid Wednesday, high 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
75 at O'Hare, 76 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. The Socialist Spice Girls are clearly holding auditions because there's a number of other members of Congress that are clearly trying to join the gals.
They want on the Spice Girls, they want on the band?
And I'm not just talking about other female members of the House Democrat caucus like Miss Escobar from El Paso. Our very own.
Who?
Chuy Garcia. Very interesting, telling House Oversight Committee hearing last week on Friday over migrant children. And this was one of the exchanges. Your very own Chuy Garcia, replacement to El Gaito in Chicagoland. You know, he's the one who looks like the Super Mario brother, ran for mayor, lost to Tiny Dancer in the runoff 4 years ago. Now got this sinecure after
Yeah, they passed it down. He gave it to his buddy.
After he had kept a seat warm in the General Assembly and then on the Cook County Board. Lifer. Chuy Garcia offering his audition tape to the Socialist Spice Girls during questioning of former ICE Director Tom Homan. Listen to this.
Have we not learned from the internment of Japanese Americans? Mr. Homan, I'm a father. Do you have children? How can you possibly allow this to happen under your watch? Do you not care? Is it because these children don't look like children that are around you? I don't get it. Have you ever held a deceased child in your arms?
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my country. I've served my country for 34 years.
I find your comments
this is out of
disgusting
control.
as well.
I've served my country for 34 years. And yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member of Congress.
We agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree on that, but I disagree. But I also disagree with your characterization of immigrants as prone to criminality.
People for 3 decades on this.
Gentlemen's time has expired. It's my time now.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Think there is a reasonable position, a compromise to be hammered out with the likes of Chuy Garcia and his socialist Spice Girl colleagues?
I mean, basically, he said Chuy Garcia accused him of not caring about dead children because they didn't look like him. That's what I heard.
Well, that's what he said.
I know, but you can't reason with crazy.
And then it went on. So then Jim Jordan, remember the House Oversight Committee is one of these, under Democrat control, one of these Star Chamber Russian collusion committees. Elijah Cummings is the chairman. Jim Jordan's on it as well. So then Jim Jordan and Elijah Cummings had a little interlude about whether or not Mr. Homan should be allowed to finish his answer uninterrupted by Chuy Garcia. And then that's exactly what Mr. Homan did.
Chairman?
It's my time.
Well, the gentleman ripped off about 7 different questions designed to go at the character of Mr. Homan, and Mr. Homan should be given a chance to respond. It was ridiculous, the way he just rattled them all off and wouldn't let him respond to them.
Let me say this. I understand that, but first of all, I'm going to have civility in my hearings. All right? I have the floor.
I understand, and I agree with you.
I'm going to have civility. That's why I was banging, so that we could hear each person speak. I have been very courteous and very kind. Now, Mr. Homan, do you have something to say?
No one in this room has seen what I've seen in my 34-year career.
Very well.
No one has experienced what I've experienced. I've saw many dead bodies coming across this border. And you want to talk about the memo? This memo is one option to stop death. Not just about enforcing the law, stop death. If you want to legalize illegal immigration, good luck with that, because it's going to get a hell of a lot worse on that border. If you say, well, okay, from now on, there will be no consequence, no deterrence. It's not illegal to come to this country illegally. More families will come. 31% women would be raped. More children would die. We're a nation of laws. If you don't like it, sir, change it. You're the legislator. I'm the executive branch, and I've served my country honorably for 34 years. And I will not sit here and have anybody say that I don't care about children because you're not the same color as my children.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So what do you think? Change it or just engage in racial demagoguery? Those are, I guess, the 2 options. The left has chosen the latter and continues to, while taking rhetorical positions that are in conflict with one another. I'm for decriminalizing illegal border crossings. I'm not for open borders. I'm for a secure border. I'm not for deporting people who have final court orders against them. They take positions that are mutually exclusive because they don't actually want to do anything. They want to demagogue the issue to advance the one argument that they care about, the one argument they think unifies the Champagne socialists and minority groups that have bought into their solidarity and marginality race. That's it.
That's all they have.
That's all they have.
And last night, Chuy Garcia was with others, on renting divvy bikes and driving through Little Village to make sure ICE wasn't picking anybody up. shaking hands too. So they've turned this also into a political event. Dick Durbin was there. All the the short little Democratic men of Chicago.
Well, on the Hill, there were opportunities. There are always opportunities to offer a proposal.
Yeah.
You heard Tom Homan refer to the memo in question. Well, that was in reference to a previous exchange former ICE Director Homan had with
our little sunshine.
AOC, End of the World Spice. And that's how this went. A memo regarding border security deportations.
It says the official recommendation, there were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo
Okay,
is...
I'm done.
I just got schooled. All right. I'm going to move on.
It's funny that a citation, a legal citation, a statutory citation would be such a game stopper for AOC, but it's instructive. They don't care about the law. They're not even interested in what the law says, even though they're so interested in changing it. They just want to do it by fiat. Who are the totalitarians here again that want to rule by their emotions? Their emotions should be immediately codified into law. When their emotions change, the law changes. Tom Homan was a law enforcement officer doing his job. He did it as a police officer. He did it as ICE director, and you heard why. He memorialized his views in writing because at least he and some others in DHS up and down the food chain are serious about trying to do their jobs best they can under a legal regime that is in conflict with itself. So are you a serious person about border security and legal immigration? The two can go in tandem. Or are you an unserious person like AOC? Well, we know what the answer is for most of the people in Chicagoland, including virtually everybody in elective office here. I wonder why that is. David in McCook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I hope everything turned out good for your son.
Yep, he's doing well, back from the hospital, so that's a good sign.
Good.
Thanks.
My comment, these Democrats who sit on their high horse and look down on everybody, down their noses, are disgusting. They don't address the real problem, and they can't form 3 words, 3 sentences without saying the word race 50 times. It makes me sick.
Thanks for the call, David. I mean, it really is a moment when Chuy Garcia, I appreciate him doing it right between the eyes because we can dispense with any need for interpretation. But Chuy Garcia telling Tom Homan.
It's just so disrespectful.
Is it because, when he's asking the question, he's making a statement. Is it because you don't care about children that are dying because they don't look like your children? Is there anything in the record to reflect that Tom Homan position?
I mean, just come out and call him a racist.
No, he did.
I know.
He called him worse, actually. They call him somebody that's indifferent to the deaths of children based on their race.
And then he tried to take the father angle too. Do you have kids? I mean, anyone who does their homework should know somebody that they're questioning what their family life is.
Do you need to have kids to care about children, to care about other human beings, to not want to see people die on either side of the border?
No. And that's why you have 2 imaginary children. But you're raising very well, by the way.
But Chuy Garcia, incapable of shame. The socialist left, incapable of shame. Why? Because what are the consequences? What are the consequences back home in this political milieu of Cook County for Chuy Garcia? Every member of Congress, if you had a functioning Chicago press corps, every member of Congress, every Democrat official in Cook County would be asked to comment on what Chuy Garcia said. The same way they go after every Republican to comment on every Trump tweet or any other unserious or stupid thing that some Republican anywhere around the country says. Chuy Garcia is a prominent member, not only of the congressional delegation in Illinois, but also of the Cook County Democrat power structure, the Latino caucuses, and the Latino political power structure in Chicagoland. Going to be any accountability for those comments? Demand for the basis to make such a comment? No, there won't be. Robert in Oak Brook.
Tom is a great American. I mean, the guy has done an outstanding job. And again, we don't teach history anymore. Our kids don't learn about our history. And Republican or Democrat, no one has fixed this problem since the 50s. It seems as though neither party really wants to solve anything.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Thanks for the call, Robert. It does. And I go back to say, I'm happy to hold my party accountable, be constructively critical or substantively critical, even if not constructive, substantively critical. Trump and House and Senate Republicans had the opportunity the first 2 years of his term, and they failed. And that's the bottom line. Tom in Deer Park.
Yeah, these televised hearings, when C-SPAN came out with it, seemed to be a great idea for transparency, but they're nothing but dog and pony shows, and I don't think they're good for the Republic. I don't know how we're going to get out of it, but it's not instructive, I think, Dan. I'm wondering what you think.
Thanks for the call,
Well, we would have
Tom.
never have heard Chuy Garcia's comments had it not been for C-SPAN. Or C-SPAN, too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, right. I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's all histrionics and speechifying and sort of celebritizing members of Congress,
Grandstanding.
which I don't like. I don't like any of that. He's right. It's not useful. Tom's right. But by the same token, you've got a point that it's one thing to read it in print, but to see Chuy Garcia, to see some of the back and forth, AOC and Homan, Trey Gowdy and Jim Comey, that's really instructive. And people sort of reveal who they are, even in a platform where they're trying to aggrandize themselves, and in part because they're using the platform to aggrandize themselves rather than doing anything important or serious. I don't know. Cuts both ways.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
No matter how well you provide for your family today, if you don't have life insurance, their future may be at risk. Think about what would happen if you were gone. Would they struggle to pay the bills and face an uncertain future? They don't have to. You can help guarantee those you love $200,000, $500,000, $750,000 or more with life insurance through AIG Direct. We'll help you get more for your money, up to 70% more. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. Just look, you could get $250,000 of term life coverage for as little as $14 a month. It's no wonder millions of people rely on AIG companies. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation. Make the future more secure for those you love. Call now so you can sleep better at night. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. That's 1-800-900-1303. 1-800-900-1303.
Hey guys, Ken here from Income Store. Did you know of the top 10 reasons an employee stays at a company for more than 2 years? The 7th reason is the pay or the salary. The first 6 reasons have nothing to do with money. Things like they feel part of a team, They know they belong, their voice is heard, they're respected. Also, employees go through 5 phases within a couple days to 6 months of any new position. Excitement, education, reality, doubt, then clarity. Did you know it's a manager's job to walk them to clarity as fast as possible? If you need to know these fundamental principles, fundamental? Did I just say that? I'm going to leave that in. If you need to know these fundamental principles, I can't say this. This is awesome. This is like a blooper roll. Hey, you know what? If you need tips and techniques like this to grow your business today, you got to check out door number 1 of Income Store. If you just need somebody to literally hold your hand and get you to the finish line, check out door number 2 of IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Justin's got to make a parody for this song. Little homework assignment.
The socialists for the socialist
Yeah.
groups. There's no question. We have to start providing more definition to the members, too. So I've got AOC as end of the world spice.
Right. Presley.
Omar, I got anti-Semite spice. But we still got, Ayanna
And
Presley.
I married my brother.
Rashida Tlaib. I married my brother Spice.
I married my
also
brother
works.
Spice would work.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right, we'll work on that. And we've got more because it was a Socialist Spice Girls weekend. From the Netroots Nation conference to the Sunday talkies to that House Oversight Committee hearing we were reviewing before the news. So we'll pick up the other Spice Girls after Mike Scott.
And to President Trump's tweet about the Spice Girls. Go back to Brooklyn. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
75 degrees. More rain expected in the U.S. from Tropical Depression Barry. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell says the city made it through Barry well as it made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane.
We were spared. We understand that our brother and sisters who are in surrounding parishes were less lucky in some instances.
The former hurricane moving out of Louisiana this morning into Arkansas. Heavy rain continuing. Meteorologist Bill Caron.
Nothing major with this storm so far. And going into the weekend, we were concerned with the possibility of historic rains and historic river flooding because of that. It just didn't develop. We've had about half the rain that we thought was possible.
Barry did not cause that disastrous flooding that had been predicted. Despite a lack of planned ICE raids happening as announced by the president, many undocumented immigrants are still on edge. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, defending ICE by citing former President Barack Obama's immigration policy.
He was referred to as deporter-in-chief, and he pushed back on actually Telemundo when they criticized him, and they said, you're deporting 184,000, quote, non-criminals, and he said, I'm not a king, I have to enforce the law.
Some arrests were reported, but routine activity for the most part for immigrations and custom enforcement officers. Today is the bail hearing of convicted sex offender and well-known investor Jeffrey Epstein. His attorneys are hoping he can be released on $77 million bail by putting up his Upper East Side apartment and plane. Iran's president says his side would hold talks with the U.S. if the U.S. lifts some sanctions and rejoins the 2015 nuclear deal. President Hassan Rouhani says his country has always believed in negotiations, but Washington needs to ratchet down the economic pressure. A decorated Special Forces soldier has died in Afghanistan. Sergeant Major James Sartor died Saturday in the northern part of that country, but the circumstances around his death have not been released. It's going to be more than just hot this week here in the Chicago area and most of the state, dangerously hot, according to the National Weather Service. Milwaukee-bound Amtrak train was involved in a deadly wreck. Happened yesterday afternoon in Morton Grove. Amtrak says none of the 254 on board the Hiawatha train were hurt when the driver of a minivan drove onto the tracks. Authorities have identified a mother and her 2 teenage sons after they were killed in a murder-suicide in Elmhurst. DuPage County Sheriff's yesterday saying Jamie Jones shot and killed 16-year-old Jason Harris and 19-year-old Nathan Harris in her home on Willow Road Friday night. She then set that home on fire, then turned the gun on herself. Cubs, 3 home runs. They beat the Pirates at Wrigley Field 8-3. A's trimmed the White Sox 3-2 in Oakland. 5:35. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees retaliation from the president.
The shooting down in international waters of a drone, an American drone, by Iran. I know a lot of people expected the loose cannon Donald Trump to race out there and go out and bomb them to smithereens. Oh, I think a response is coming, by the way.
I have no doubt a response is coming.
But it will be on his time.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5. On AM 560, The Answer.
If your business depends on a Sprinter or light-duty diesel, you can't afford to have just anyone care for your major investment and important equipment. From a single vehicle to an entire fleet, depend on the experts at Remke's Garage to fix your Sprinter, Duramax, Cummins, or Power Stroke vehicle. Only go to the experts at Remke's Garage. Remke's doesn't just fix problems, they find solutions. Remke's goal is making sure you never lose $1 of business. That's why owner Joe Remke will customize a maintenance plan specific to your unique vehicle. Remke's Garage specializes in Sprinter and light-duty diesel vehicles. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty on all parts. They'll pick up, deliver, and offer you a loaner vehicle for free. Go to remkesgarage.com to schedule your free maintenance plan consultation. That's REMKES Garage.com. That's Remke's, spelled REMKES Garage.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents
Doug. Is that your pet emu?
He's my partner, Limu. And we're here to tell you that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
So is he only an emu because it rhymes with Limu, as in Liberty Mutual?
Well, one could
So this is just a clever way to get people to remember Liberty Mutual, huh?
Kinda.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
At Walgreens, we know that your day doesn't stop for diabetes. So when you've got places to go and people to see, count on Walgreens every day to get expert diabetes advice 24/7. Find all major brands of testing supplies like Walgreens True Metrics in-store and online. And download tools to help you stay on track, like our 5-star mobile app with Pill Reminder. At Walgreens, we are your diabetes go-to. Stop by and talk to your pharmacist today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
5:37 AM 560 traffic center time, and here is Jim Talamonte.
We're now seeing some airport traffic around O'Hare. Traffic is slow on westbound 190 from the Kennedy Expressway to Mannheim. Expect some congestion in the terminal area as well. The outbound Kennedy is getting heavy now past Sayre. Expect to take about 25 minutes, maybe a little more now to get from downtown to the airport. The inbound Kennedy looks good. Reversible lanes are open on the inbound side. The Aidens is fine. The Eisenhower still looks good. About Stevenson, tight Ashland to the Rhine. Looking at about 2 minutes worth of delays. Inbound Rhine, got a 2 or 3 minute delay from Cermak to the Burns Circle. I-57 is good. Bishoport, a little congested approaching Emerge. Tollways are fine. Northwest Indiana, too. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Hot and humid today, clouds and sun. Will turn a little bit breezy this afternoon, high 92. Partly cloudy and warm, 74 overnight, 86 with a thunderstorm tomorrow. 75 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, off to a healthy start for your week, we hope, Dan and Amy. And it was a Socialist Spice Girls weekend, as we mentioned. They were all out in full force. By the way, got a tweet from Gary T. as we're trying to provide the spice designations for each of the Socialist Spice Girl members.
So AOC is...
I am going with the End of the World Spice.
End of the World. I like that. I married my brother Spice for Omar.
Let's try. It's a little unwieldy, but okay. All right.
It's
we'll take suggestions. There's somebody out there.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, or just text us at 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Gary T is offering for Rashida Tlaib, obviously, MFer Spice.
Oh,
which is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's good.
Get that MFer out of there, sure. Okay.
And then we just need one for Presley.
We need one for Ayanna Presley. And also, we need to prepare for the group to expand.
To Chewy?
Chewy Garcia to Veronica Escobar from El Paso. Yeah, so we got to prepare for that. President Trump is preparing as well. He's preparing, I think, in part to run against the Socialist Spice Girls for the better part of the balance of this election cycle. His tweeting over the weekend, which is drawing the, I'm sure, fully anticipated howls from the left, he said something about these individuals of which we speak.
Yeah, he wrote, why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it is done. Well, yeah, 3 of the 4 were born here in America, and Omar is the only one who was born in Somalia.
I'm looking at this Omar from Minnesota. She shouldn't even be in office.
He didn't say she should leave the country. That he said that on Friday, but he was talking about Omar. And
I think he's probably referring to many of the stories out about Omar potentially having committed immigration fraud, and we've discussed the details of that.
Yeah, with her 2 husbands, and then she got back with her first husband, who's the father of her kids, and she might have possibly have married her brother. You know, it's still under investigation. But I mean, is this a little too much because they're calling it, it's a racist tweet. Do you think it's a racist tweet, Dan? Pretty much telling Omar she should go back to Africa. You can't leave fast enough was another tweet that he had.
He also tweeted, I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements, noting that Pelosi and the squad, as she terms the Socialist Spice Girls, haven't been getting along much of late. And, oh, by the way, it is worth noting, with respect to insinuations or straight up accusations of racism, Nancy Pelosi was the target of said allegations after her public spat with the squad.
And who stuck up for Nancy Pelosi? None other than President Trump.
I think Cortez is being very disrespectful.
Sorry.
I was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein, and you watch people... I think Cortez is being very disrespectful to somebody that's been there a long time. I deal with Nancy Pelosi a lot, and we go back and forth, and it's fine. But I think that a group of people is being very disrespectful to her. And you know what? I don't think that Nancy can let that go on. A group of people that came from, I don't know where they came from. I'm looking at this Omar from Minnesota. And if 1/2 of the things they're saying about her are true, she shouldn't even be in office. But Cortez should treat Nancy Pelosi with respect. She should not be doing what she's doing. And I'll tell you something about Nancy Pelosi that you know better than I do. She is not a racist, okay? She is not a racist. For them to call her a racist is a disgrace.
Oh, I love it. Love it. It's a great piece of jujitsu. When Nancy Pelosi says of Trump, make America white again, that's what he's trying to do. He rallies to Nancy Pelosi's defense, saying she's not a racist. Why? Because Trump, and this is damning her with faint praise. That's what this is. Trump and the Socialist Spice Girls are in a symbiotic relationship. It's not Trump and Pelosi. It's Trump cornering Pelosi using the Socialist Spice Girls. These tweets, I wouldn't exactly be the language I would have used, but the idea of tweeting to feed their profile is to make Nancy Pelosi's life that much more miserable, to continue to brand the Democrat Socialist Party, not without a basis, as the party of AOC and Omar, and to a lesser extent Tlaib and Presley, but it's certainly AOC and Omar, and just that those viewpoints, which have infected all of the Democrat presidential candidates, even Joe Biden. There's no question. So what you have here is Trump wants to run against socialists, and the more dim-witted, the better. So the Socialist Spice Girls are the perfect adversary, and the Socialist Spice Girls want to be the hardest of the hardliners against Trump. So Trump is the perfect adversary for them. And caught in the middle is Nancy Pelosi.
I know, but he fed into them. He should not have tweeted this tweet. I mean, he should have known that 3 of the 4 were born in America. AOC's from Brooklyn. And all it did was feed his enemies and the 2020 Democratic candidate.
I would suggest, though, he's talking about their cultural identity, which is what they lead with, not the fact they're American. So Rashida Tlaib is also an anti-Semite, and I mean,
she's no fan of Trump.
She rewrote history in the 20th century with respect to the Palestinians in Israel. So this is about Tlaib as a Palestinian. And I'm not suggesting that they're not Americans. I'm suggesting is they lead with their heritage, not their American citizenship. And I think that's what he's speaking to, the same way that AOC leads with Puerto Rico.
Right.
Oh, and how? By the way, what about Puerto Rico?
Color. Oh yeah, Puerto Rico. They arrested some officials over the weekend.
And what were they arrested for last week? Misappropriating federal funds, wiring contracts. So what was the problem in Puerto Rico? Was it the failure to provide relief after that hurricane a couple years ago? Because the fraud allegedly started a couple years ago, as soon as the money was drop shipped. So was it that, or was it the same reason why the hurricane was more devastating than it otherwise could have or should have been, because of the failure of local officials to build infrastructure that could do a better job of withstanding that sort of natural disaster?
The money never got to the people, and I knew it was fraudulent when I heard that Chuy Alligator was moving to Puerto Rico.
And now
to help with the hurricane recovery, which means he's helping his own self.
And now the governor, Rossello, is in trouble because of these texts that were released. No, Rossello, Ricardo Rossello.
The mayor of San Juan, I can't stand.
Right. Ugh. She was the most vituperative critic of Trump, right. And all the, he doesn't care about brown people rap.
He threw paper towels at us.
Right. And so, but Rossello is in trouble, who has not been that antagonistic of Trump, but all these texts between him and senior officials were released. And so there's all kinds of political problems down there, in addition to political corruption problems. But somehow, everything that's wrong with Puerto Rico, just like everything that's wrong with Illinois, is somehow the fault of a faraway Republican in the White House. Right. Okay, you keep spinning that and see how things go on the ground where you live. Illinoisans, in particular, to extend the comparison. But anyway, on Trump's tweet, a judicious tweet, properly executed, from the political angle, which there clearly is here, or, more intemperate than it needed to be with respect to referencing cultural heritage. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro.
And then the mainstream media complaining this morning, there aren't any Republican lawmakers slamming Trump for his tweet.
Right.
So now the whole party is, racist again.
I'll tell you what.
Coming forward saying what he did was wrrong.
Right. Oh, no, right. I know. And, of course, they're also coming forward and asking Chuy Garcia to account for his intemperate remarks in that committee hearing with Tom. Well, of course they're not.
No one even heard about that.
Yeah, to your point
today.
And to your point about the D.C. press corps, this piece of the Daily Beast. So I just want you to understand, you're a Trump voter. Listen up. Trump is a racist. If you still support him, so are you. Period. The end. Now, this author takes about 700 words to make her case, but it's more just, recounting a prosaic list of grievances against Trump that all indicate that he's racist, allegedly. But Trump is racist. If you still support him, so are you. So now, if you do not denounce Trump, which is the trick bag they love to get you in, if you do not denounce Trump for something with which you disagree, whether it's on the substantive policy or just tone with respect to a position, then you are also a racist and you're illegitimate. We're back to the deplorables lingo. And I think this largely redounds to the benefit of Trump. If all the left has is to try to do their best to make this a race war, I don't think it's going to work out very well for them. John and Lombard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, as far as Trump's comment about go over there, you can't redefine a centuries-old punchline. It's like when someone says, "Oh, Sweden this, Sweden's so great." Well, then go there. If you like it so much, then leave. If you hate this place, leave. You can't rearrange that. Everybody knows that.
Okay. And so, what's the upshot for you on the tweet?
So then he said he's not saying go back to your country of origin because they're saying 3 of them are born here. Ha ha, we got you. Oh no, he's saying it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's the culture you're from. Then go correct it then if you think it sucks here.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for the call, John. Well, Ilhan Omar was at the Netroots Nation conference, which I've actually been to.
What is it? The
Daily Kos.
Okay.
And Netroots Nation, they have this convention every year for, I don't know, the last decade or so, about that gathers together all the leftist trolls that live in their mom's basements and put on masks and beat up journalists. So, it's nice to bring everybody together.
Yeah. Where was the conference?
Yeah. Not a lot of presidential candidates showed up because it's really Elizabeth Warren turf. By the way, I've gone to this conference. Back when I was at WLS, I went to this conference. I wonder
how were you treated?
I wonder if Marcos, the Daily Kos founder, wonder if he's ever been to a conservative conference. It was interesting. I'm happy to go to these conferences and
what was
engage.
It like?
It's just what you think. I mean, this was before P-hats were all the rage, so there was other creative garb, creative battle gear, if you will. I don't know. I talked to some people, interviewed some people.
Did you learn anything?
No. I mean, nothing that I didn't anticipate in terms of their positions. And this is, by the way, remember, when I wasn't specific. When I went, this was the heady days of President Obama in the White House.
Oh, okay.
So they had a lot less to complain about. So maybe it wasn't as exciting as it was this weekend. But anyway, Ilhan Omar was a panelist on one of the breakout sessions there. And this is what she had to say about her country being America and love of country.
Something that I get criticized for all the time. It's not what you think, so don't don't gasp.
Anti-Semitism's funny.
It is that I am anti-American because I criticize the United States, and I believe as an immigrant I probably love this country more than anyone that is naturally born.
Ilhan Omar loves America more than any of you naturally born citizens, just so you know. And here's why you know that's true. She explains what she means by her superior love for America.
And because I am ashamed of it continuing to live in its hypocrisy, that I work so hard to make sure that others who've had why just be American? Why don't you be more like an American? Can continue to say that. Why can't you be more like an American? Because it used to be a very positive thing. We export American exceptionalism, the great America, the land of liberty and justice. That is, if you ask anybody in walking on the side of the street somewhere in the middle of the world, they will tell you America the Great. But we don't live those values here. And so that hypocrisy is one that I'm bothered by. I want America the Great to be America the Great.
Mm-hmm. America the Great, in Ilhan Omar's definition. By the way, America the Great is who rescued Omar effectively and so many Somalis from the warlordocracy in Mogadishu back during the Black Hawk Down campaign. America was so great as to provide not only asylum for the Omar family, but relief from bloodthirsty warlords in Mogadishu during that ill-fated campaign. Just a little bit of a history lesson there, since I know that's not the forte of the Socialist Spice Girls. Oh, by the way, a couple of suggestions.
Oh, good. What?
I think Stephen has improved your moniker for Ilhan Omar. Brotherly Love Spice.
Oh, You know what?
That's good.
There he goes again, showing off. All right.
He also has one for Spice Girl, Socialist Spice Girl aspirant, Chuy Garcia. Jesus H. Spice. You know, like, say, Jesus H. Like Jesus H, though. Yeah, all right.
Keep them coming. 64636. Type in DA, then your comment.
Yeah. All right. Brotherly Love Spice is good.
That's good.
Frank in Arlington Heights.
Hey, Dan, Amy. Yeah, I think that Trump's comments are great. And I think, Dan, you have to stop using the Socialist Spice Girls moniker.
Why is that?
I prefer Bolshevik. And that's what they are.
Well, but
Spice Girls, because they're new, they're fresh, they're trying to be hip.
But I have Bolshevik Bernie, so I don't want to overuse Bolshevik. I have to distribute the nicknames. It's complicated.
I see, but what Chuy Garcia did was straight out of the Frankfurt School.
No question.
I mean,
Herbert Marcuse would have been proud. No question. Thanks for the call, Frank. Dave and Racine.
Yes, I seem to recall several leaders of that lived in this country and then went back to their homelands and actually helped make it great. Some from the Slovak countries after the fall of the Soviet Union. And remember Golda Meir? She was a Milwaukee school teacher for a time and then went back to Israel.
Sure. There's a lot of foreign dignitaries or the sons of and daughters of foreign leaders that are schooled in the United States and go back. It's true. Thanks for the call, Dave.
Morrissey's kid went to USC, both of his sons. President of Egypt, who just recently passed away.
Morrissey.
Morrissey, yeah.
Philip in Blue Island.
First of all, Amy, God bless you and the family. Hope everything's working out well. The whole thing with changing people's names is kind of weird. Remember the whole thing in Roots with Toby and Kuta Kinte. What's your name, Toby?
Right.
So,
that's what I'm doing. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, Amy asked you, was the statement from Trump racist? Then you skirted it. And
no, I was because I was waiting for you to call in to tell me.
Oh, okay, good. No,
yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to ask you the question. Is the statement, in your view, racist? You said you wouldn't use those words, but go ahead.
Yeah, no. I want you to tell me. You are the superior race-sensitive caller. So I want to know from you, Philip, from Blue Island, what because I know everything is racist. So I guess if everything is racist, then that tweet would be racist because everything is racist.
So you're not going to answer the question. So
I think I just did.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Oh no, Philip. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Philip is a good example of this. A good piece by Francis Merton, who's the Manhattan Contrarian, just a lawyer with a blog, but he's pretty insightful. Good writer for a lawyer, especially. ManhattanContrarian.com. Why are they all so angry? He writes, among other observations, at least for those of the progressive mindset, the less they have to be angry about, the angrier they become. You notice that? Yeah, I think that's good. It's consistent with Peggy Noonan's column over the weekend about AOC and the other champagne socialists who want to bury Joe Biden. She basically says all the dramatic things they do, amplifying them through their social media skills or compulsions, they've broken through and they made their mark. In fame and celebrity, they alter the face and feel of the party into something that appears more radical, more hissing, and accusatory, more hard left. Indeed, they have. And for all these reasons, Peggy Noonan concludes, Miss Ocasio-Cortez has been destructive to her party's chances in 2020. She is a one-woman committee to re-elect President Trump. She certainly is. And so she's got a lot of helpers like Philip in Blue Island.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll continue our talk of 2020 more directly. Right Bernie versus left Bernie. Of which are you a fan at 6:06?
And later, Beto's big announcement, an alligator Bob has been replaced. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Excessive heat floods the Midwest and scorches Chicago this week. A Milwaukee-bound Amtrak train involved in a deadly wreck. Cubs pound the Pirates WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
How many immigrants will ICE round up? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The raids were supposed to start yesterday, going after those here illegally under court order to be removed. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the Trump administration says ICE raids have begun, but there's little activity being reported in targeted cities. Mark Morgan, acting director of Customs and Border Protection, told CBS Face the Nation officials are going after convicted criminals and those who have ignored deportation orders.
Apply consequences and enforce the rule of law.
On ABC's This Week, 2020 presidential candidate Democrat Amy Klobuchar said the administration is trying to make headlines.
It's about scaring everyone in the country.
The New York Times has reported the raids could take place over several days. Dave.
Rachel, Iran's president says he is willing to negotiate with the U.S. on a new nuclear deal if American sanctions are lifted. Those were imposed after the U.S. pulled out of the international nuclear deal that Iran has recently breached twice. European foreign ministers are meeting on that issue today. A much weaker tropical depression, Barry, now moving further inland, could cause flooding in the Texas and Arkansas, Tennessee, and Missouri. It did not hit Louisiana as hard as feared. Governor John Bell Edwards.
I, for one, am extremely grateful that the forecasted rains and flooding did not materialize.
Fox's Rob Schmidt is in ankle-deep water in Mandeville outside New Orleans.
It was a slow-moving storm. It did have some powerful winds to it, a Category 1 hurricane for about an hour or so before it fell back to a tropical storm. A number of rescues had to be made in some communities that are further south, right along the Gulf Coast. Some of these communities, places the federal government doesn't think people should be living in the first place.
Jeffrey Epstein returns to court today in New York City on charges he paid underage girls to have sex. His lawyers want him to get bail, arguing he's not a threat to flee. Federal prosecutors say he is a flight risk and a danger, and several women have contacted them since Epstein's arrest to say they were also abused underage. This is Fox News.
Skies are clear. We have 75 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It's going to be more than just hot this week in Chicago and most of the state. National Weather Service says it's going to be dangerously hot. Forecasters say when the temp jumps into the upper 90s later in the week, the heat index will make it feel closer to 110. A Milwaukee-bound Amtrak train was involved in a deadly wreck. Happened yesterday afternoon in Morton Grove. Amtrak says none of the 254 on board the Hiawatha train were hurt. Driver of a minivan died when he drove onto the tracks. Another strategy is being used to capture the gator in Chicago's Humboldt Park Lagoon. City's Animal Care and Control has closed the eastern half of the park overnight in order to prevent crowds from gathering. That is impacting area summer camps that gather early morning at the Humboldt Park Lagoon. In addition, an alligator expert from Florida has been brought in to help. Senator Dick Durbin is calling on President Trump to stop the careless tweeting, especially for one tweet over the weekend that encouraged what he called progressive congresswomen of color to leave the country. On CBS's Face the Nation, the Illinois Democrat highlighted Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar's immigration story. Cubs smacked 3 home runs. They beat the Pirates 8-3 at Wrigley Field. Chad Pinder scored the walk-off run on a throwing error. A's beat the White Sox 3-2 in Oakland. The news service of ExpressPros.com. Express employment professionals thanking workers in a big way. This August, Express is awarding $1,000 cash prizes weekly and a chance to win a $10,000 vacation. Register on the Express Jobs app or at ExpressPros.com. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. 6:04, time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Gas prices in Illinois have gone up. way up.
Fill her up.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker and our lawmakers in Springfield. You're probably feeling some pain at the pump. Well, AM 560 and Croggy's Mobile Service Center in Addison want to ease your pain by giving you a $50 gas card. That's right, $50 to fill up your tank at any Exxon Mobil station. To enter for your chance to win, go to 560theanswer.com/gas.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stocked by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
Wow, we've been doing a lot of roofs.
And we're ready to do yours. This is Mark Olson.
And Greg Olson from Crumweedy. Okay, say it. If your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy. Remember that when you need repair or when you need a new roof.
It's so important to choose your roofing company wisely.
Here's our pitch.
Installation. It's the ball game.
We follow the manufacturer's specifications, so your warranty is totally intact. Most roofing companies don't do that.
When we give you a quote, we give you good, better, and best options. You decide.
And we're not going anywhere.
We're a third-generation family business. 65 years of doing great roofs.
We run the company on good, conservative values.
For any roofing problem or need, call your roofing guys, Crumweedy.
Do we have any special offers? Sure. Just ask. We'll take care of you.
Get all the info at myroofisneedy.com.
When your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
630-595-8020. 630-595-8020. Make home improvements or consolidate debt with a home equity loan from Discover Bank, NMLS ID 684042. Save with 0 application fees, 0 appraisal fees, and 0 cash due at closing. Learn more at discoverhomeequityloans.com.
6:07 AM 560 traffic center time. And here's Jim Talamonte.
On this Monday morning, traffic's heavy on the inbound Hannity from 190 to Nagel. It is 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 36 with delays from Montrose to 190. And then you have additional delays on 190 from Kennedy to Manheim. Expect some congestion in the terminal area at O'Hare as well. Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower. There are heavy pockets starting around Manheim. 34 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 31. Inbound Stevenson delays. Start at Harlem. It's already 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. Eastbound Reagan Tollway traffic slow 83 to Roosevelt. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and some sun. It'll be hot and humid today. Breezy by the afternoon, the high 92. Partly cloudy warm tonight and a low 74. Cloudy warm and humid tomorrow. Thunderstorm, high 86. And then clouds and sun. It'll be hot and humid on Wednesday, the high 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
74 at O'Hare, 76 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As much as the Socialist Spice Girls are dominating the D.C. press corps coverage of politics right now, The choice, it seems to me, in 2020 comes down to right Bernie versus left Bernie, or capitalist Bernie versus Bolshevik Bernie. I'm talking about Home Depot founder Bernie Marcus versus Bolshevik Bernie, as in Sanders. Bolshevik Bernie or capitalist Bernie? Who's it going to be? And I note this because of the response that Bernie Marcus offered, 90-year-old Bernie Marcus, just frankly a shade older than Bolshevik Bernie. 90-year-old Bernie Marcus responded to those calling for a boycott of Home Depot because Bernie Marcus did the unthinkable and suggested in a wide-ranging interview about business and philanthropy and politics that he has been and will continue to support Trump. I know.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to rip up my Home Depot credit card.
Mm-hmm.
No, now I'm going to be more, apt to go there.
Meanwhile, his main focus is giving away the $6 billion or so that he's accumulated to various philanthropic causes. He responded to Facebook to the boycott. I woke up this morning thinking it was going to be another great day. I've been celebrating with friends, family, community since I turned 90. I've told you about the gracious $117 million that was collected and given in my honor to 4 charities that mean a lot to me. Yeah, he's not just the money he has, but the sway that he has to get others to donate as well, much like Gates and Buffett have done. All that happiness blew up because I said in a newspaper interview that I have supported and will continue to support Donald Trump. Boom! Negative stories, vicious threats without cause to boycott the company that has enabled my foundation to give billions to support autism, medical research, education, heart and neurological issues like stroke, and to help our veterans. The company that I retired from in 2002 and have not had a business relationship with in almost 20 years, a company that has employed more than 500,000 people. The people who work there are affiliated with both political parties or no party. They are all of all religions and all colors and backgrounds. Why would people want to hurt them? All because I give my voice and some of my money to our president? Am I in China, Argentina, Russia? That's what it feels like to me. It saddens me that our country has come to this, where I, as a private citizen, cannot express my feelings. It angers me and it saddens me, but it sure as hell is not going to stop me. If you thought it would, you've got the wrong guy. In the next 10 years, God willing, I will accomplish more to save this world than my critics will do, even if they had 40 lifetimes.
Wow.
Boy, don't you wish more people had the spit and vinegar of a Bernie Marcus? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. That's one Bernie whose philosophy you can choose to vote to advance in 2020. Here's the other.
You know what, Chuck? Here's a promise I will make to you. When the poor get richer and the rich get poorer, when all of our people have health care is the right, when we are leading the world in the fight against climate change, you know what? I will change what I am saying. So it's not me that's being repetitious. It is what is going on in society continues to favor the people who have the wealth and the power, while all over this country people are working 2 or 3 jobs. And I understand that. I keep hammering away at that issue because I believe that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we don't need 45 million people struggling with student debt. Kids can't afford to go to college. Those are the issues I will continue to talk about, and those are the issues we'll win on.
Yeah, so strip away all the sentimental bull jive, and what you get is what he actually said. I'll be happy when the poor are richer and the rich are poorer. That is a more high-minded version of Bill de Blasio's formulation that there's plenty of money in this country, it's just in the wrong hands. That's the confiscate and redistribute crowd. That's the plunder and smile crowd. So who is going to add more value, do more to save the world? The Socialist Spice Girls and Bolshevik Bernie? Or Bernie Marcus, do you think?
And I love, too, how he dropped the hammer on all those upset liberals who are boycotting Home Depot over his comments. He doesn't care. Fine. Shop somewhere else.
Well, right. But the more important point that he made, in addition to that, and saying, oh, by the way, I haven't been with the company for 20 years.
Yeah,
I hate to break it to you. Shockingly, these are not a lot of individuals who read the business pages. But something else, connecting dots. You're going to boycott me? You're going to boycott the company because of me, even if I was still with the company? So you're going to boycott people who agree with you. You're going to try to hurt people who agree with you, people who share religion with you, people who share an ethnic or cultural heritage with you, because all you're thinking about is somebody at the top disagrees with me, so I have to punish everybody, which frankly is very much in keeping with their collectivist ideology. The 500,000 people at Home Depot, you know what they are? Or what we desire them be? Collateral damage. Because we had to get to Bernie Marcus because, you know, he's going to give Trump a few $1 million.
And he left in 2002. Okay. I mean, people don't know that.
Yeah, well, that's why he noticed them up to frankly expose their ignorance on so many levels. But the dot connecting piece is what I really love. Because how do you respond to that? If you're one of these Bernie bros, Bernie Bolsheviks, that's their actual position. Collateral damage. And by the way, just since we're taking stock of where the Democrats are, Bernie Sanders has already won. He's already won the race. He may not be the nominee, but he's won this race. You know how you know when somebody has won? Somebody who comes from the outside to try to shift the party on the inside? When you see something like this happen. This from BuzzFeed. The Democrat group, leftist group, really, Indivisible, National Progressive Group, National Cultural Marxist Group, translating for you, asking the 20-plus candidates to sign a pledge promising a positive, constructive primary that ends with all participants coming together to support the eventual nominee, whoever it is, period.
Anyone signed up so far?
Not yet. They want a unity pledge because of Bernie Sanders accusing the political establishment, plotting to undermine his presidential campaign, much as was the case in 2016, which actually was the case. Less so this cycle, but the hangover from 2016 is reflective in this petition. Drafts of a separate pledge using slightly stronger language are circulating among officials from other groups as well. Bernie Sanders his ideology has become the center of gravity in the party. And what happened to Sanders in 2016 has delegitimized the political panjan drums, the Democrat party panjan drums around the country, those who have the official posts, and the grassroots, where all the energy is, giving rise to the social Spice Girls, are saying this is Bernie and the Socialist Spice Girls party. That's what this pledge is about. Yeah. And they all want, and starting with those named individuals, they all want Joe Biden Caesared. They just don't want to be the one that shivs him.
Right.
Or be perceived as it. Certainly none of the other candidates. AOC and the Socialist Spice Girls, they may be willing to do some of the dirty work.
Well, speaking of other candidates, I don't know if you saw this. Beto O'Rourke released a statement saying that he and his wife, Dan, are descendants of slave owners. He said his paternal great-great-great-grandfather owned two women, Rose and Eliza, in the 1850s. And it's likely his maternal great-great-great-grandfather owned slaves in the 1860s. And he also wrote that Amy, his wife, had an ancestor who owned slaves and another fought in the Confederate Army.
And it still can't make him interesting.
I know.
It's too bad.
Well, I kept thinking, who cares? Beto who? What?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
okay. Just so we,
Mitch McConnell and President Obama all have that in common. That's nice. And with respect to other candidates of Bernie's party pursuing the nomination, those that actually have a chance to secure it, Kamala Harris was around this weekend. We'll get to her exchange with Meghan McCain over her view on border security as it's discernible, but she was on that Breakfast Club radio show again.
Oh, yeah.
The one with like Charlemagne and like a cast of characters.
Listen to that. They're like, she was on Breakfast Club?
So this is
so cool and hip.
This is the one where she had previously talked about how, she smoked dope, and listened to music before it was actually out. And
right. Snoop Dogg or something? Didn't she like Snoop Dogg?
Something. She was a little bit ahead of her time. She must have got bootleg copies from these rap artists she was listening to while she was doped up. But she talked of Russian bots. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Russian bots, they're coming for Kamala. And, oh, by the way, the Russian bots are being deployed by allies of President Trump to stir up racial animus. That's what's happening. Yeah. Here's Kamala, the conspiracy theorist.
Remember the heat that ended up around the bend the knee and Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
Many smart people have said it actually was not a thing.
Many smart people.
The Russian bots started taking that on.
Really?
Yes.
You feel like you're being targeted by Russian bots now?
Well, we already know we are.
She's being targeted by the Russian bots that turned that Colin Kaepernick thing. This according to smart people. Top men are on this. Top men. Colin Kaepernick on bended knee wasn't a thing until the Russian bots got hold of it and turned it into a thing. The same Russian bots are now targeting Kamala Harris. Whew. Okay. Sure. Craig in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, hey, good morning, Dan, Amy. This thing with Bernie Sanders, that guy was like, before the Spice Girls and all the people that are on the left there basically going so hard left and everything like that, he was acting pretty, moderate as a socialist or something. But he's a deep socialist and everything like that. But now he doesn't know what to do. He's all over the place. The original thing you're talking about, that's why, the right-left kind of Bernie, that's him out of his mind. He doesn't know what to do. He's trying to keep up with the Joneses and everything, and he can't do it.
No, they took his idea.
Yeah, thanks for the call,
And they put
Craig.
it in a younger body and a younger voice, and they stole his idea, so he doesn't know what to do anymore. Like, what are you doing?
That's it.
Where's my stuff?
No, that's
Who moved
it.
my cheese?
It's right. So it's got to be right. Who can be the most incensed over the littlest things? Who can, galvanize attention by being the most morally indignant, by being the angriest. And when there's nothing to be particularly angry about, or the thing to be angry about, like the matter at the border, is something that you help to affect, you help to create, then it's just this kind of endless competition to be enraged at Trump. And then so then you just have the rhetorical ratcheting up. Trump has created this crisis on the border. Well, that's not strong enough. Concentration camps, that's what he's got at the border. Trump is a racist. That's not good enough. Trump and everybody who still supports Trump is a racist.
And now everybody who's a Republican lawmaker is a racist because they didn't decry or denounce Trump's tweet over the weekend.
There is no amount of red meat that's enough. Sean in Elmwood Park.
Sean.
Hi, Amy. How's that young Viking?
He's doing well. He's home from the hospital,
See,
so that's good.
You can't keep the Vikings down.
You're
little
right.
head thing. We're fine with that. We don't even need the anesthesia. Here's the other thing.
What's this wee stuff?
We're both Nordic. We're both.
He's half
Norwegian.
Italian and half Norwegian, or
Yeah, but the better part of him is Norwegian.
Greenlandish or something. Go
It
ahead.
just means that just means I'm endowed and capable, unlike you, Prof. Now, here's the other thing.
Right.
Okay, to your point about the supporters, I want you to just think for a moment about what Bernie has said and is promising to do. And I want you to think not just about that old cartoon character and his depends, but the millions of scum that follow him. He is guaranteeing to use the power of government to strip away the assets of the rich. He said until the poor or the rich are poorer. Do you understand what he is actually advocating?
Yes, I think I said it. Yes, I understand precisely.
Yeah, but you said it in a passing with that Northwestern smirk. I'm talking about the reality of what
hardly. What I said is this is the plunder and smile crowd. This is the confiscate and redistribute crowd. And they're coming for you. And they're coming for you. And it all comes down to definitions that as they are with everything else, are redefined. The words are redefined and expanded in meaning. So when you think the rich is somebody else, if you've got a bit of a homestead and you got a couple of nickels to scratch together over 20 or 30 years of working, you're the rich he's talking about. And that's what people need to understand.
And he's promising fascism. So where are all the freaks in their black helmets and their little masks? I'm going to tell you something, Prof. This is a war. This is a declaration of war. And there is a violence in taking. There is a violence in the misuse of government. And the idea that these pseudo-intellectual reporters sit there with their legs crossed waiting for the Viagra to kick in infuriates me. So it's time for us to really get motivated. It's a shame because I have to pick between that imbecile and Keynesianism. But it's important to understand exactly what he's preaching is absolute Soviet-style tyranny.
Thanks for the call, Sean. I mean, it's what my dog Hayek is fond of saying.
Yes.
To be controlled in our economic pursuits is to be controlled in everything.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
No matter how well you provide for your family today, if you don't have life insurance, their future may be at risk. Think about what would happen if you were gone. Would they struggle to pay the bills and face an uncertain future? They don't have to. You can help guarantee those you love $200,000, $500,000, $750,000 or more with life insurance through AIG Direct. We'll help you get more for your money, up to 70% more. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. Just look, you could get $250,000 of term life coverage for as little as $14 a month. It's no wonder millions of people rely on AIG companies. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation. Make the future more secure for those you love. Call now so you can sleep better at night. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. That's 1-800-900-1303. 1-800-900-1303.
You know, our good friend Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, has authorized us to make the best offer ever on radio or TV. For a limited time only, you can get a 2-pack of premium MyPillows for only $69.98. That's only $34.99 per pillow. Again, it's the lowest price ever offered in the history of MyPillow. Do not wait. Take advantage of this. And you can also get the Go Anywhere MyPillow, which I really was just a lifesaver at the hospital. If you have to go in for any procedure or be with anyone, you can, in the pre-op room, you can lean against your MyPillow against the wall, take yourself a little cat nap, put it on top of a pillow if you're, at a hospital or in a hotel, and there you go. It's the best thing ever. Also, 30% off pet beds, mattress toppers, and I love it, the Giza cotton sheets. They all come in different shapes and sizes and colors. So act now to get this brand new, absolutely lowest price ever offered on 2 premium MyPillows for only $69.98. Go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Amy or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201 or MyPillow.com. Either method, use promo code Amy.
We have reached the age where things just cost more.
Cars, phones, life insurance.
Your blood pressure is up.
Your weight is up.
You're one to talk.
I have type 2 diabetes, so I'm getting dinged just like you.
Thank goodness for Big Lou.
Big Lou!
Big Lou can get term life insurance rates for a 50-year-old male with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe he's on anxiety meds for just around $200 a month for $1 million of coverage.
Oh, you got to say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say it. Big Lou and Term Provider could get a 50-year-old man, a little dinged up, $1 million in life insurance for around $200 a month.
Call Big Lou.
Big Lou.
He's like you.
800-555-2085. That's 800-555-2085.
Don't put it off. If you're overweight, diabetic, have high blood pressure, you gotta call Big Lou.
Gotta.
800-555-2085.
Write it down.
800-555-2085.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy.
It's a tongue twister, Dan.
At what age did you meet your best friend, Amy?
25?
Wrong. You didn't. It's 21. Well, at least that's the median age. Survey of 10,000 people by Snap Inc. looked at friendship in 9 countries. Age people met their best friend 21.
I can see that.
Now, it differs a little bit from age cohort. Like baby boomers, it was almost 30. Gen Xers, like you and me, well, you.
Oh, that is so rude.
Was
Take that back.
Was 24, so you're actually right there in the sweet spot.
Well, thank you. Well, so when did you meet your
Millennials
best friend?
like me, it was 18.
18. Oh, okay. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but who's your best friend?
I'll let you know when I have one.
Okay,
yeah,
so
actually,
this-
I don't. It hasn't happened yet.
You don't have a go-to guy?
We're working on
Wait,
that.
excuse me.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Like, if
I
things
don't-
are bad, there's no go-to, there's no lifeline, there's no stage 5 clinger where you need help.
No, I got to keep my own counsel.
Oh, so you just talk to yourself?
Yeah.
Figure it out? Sometimes it's good to bounce things off friends because they put things in perspective and let you know if you're a little out of line. Keep you in touch and, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's one view of humanity. I'm not much of an existentialist, but I do think Sartre was onto something when he said hell is other people.
Oh,
So I guess that's probably not a great opener at a mixer.
no, it wouldn't be.
All right, I'll have to work on that.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, where were the ICE raids in Chicago and around the country? But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunshine this morning, but excessive heat is on the way. Details on that in just a moment at 6:31. President Trump is doubling down after telling a group of Democrat progressive congresswomen to go back where they came from. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is responding to the president's Sunday tweets. The Detroit Democrat did so in a video online.
I want you to know that you belong, that this is our country, and no amount of hate-filled bullying from the White House is going to change that. We're going to fight back together, and we're going to become stronger for it.
In response to the president, she posted on Twitter this morning. Tropical Depression Barry moving into Arkansas, but it's not finished causing problems in Mississippi and Louisiana, where NBC's Kerry Sanders is this morning.
Hurricane Barry is no more a hurricane, but the problems left behind in Louisiana are extensive. Flooding as well as in the waters, alligators and snakes.
Heavy rainfall up and down the Mississippi, causing some flash flooding problems in Natchez and Vicksburg this morning. Iran's president says his side is ready to hold talks with the U.S. if the U.S. lifts sanctions and rejoins the 2015 nuclear deal. China's economy sank to its lowest level in 26 years in the quarter ending in June, adding to pressure on Chinese leaders as they fight a tariff war with Washington. India aborted the launch of a spacecraft intended to land on the far side of the moon less than an hour before liftoff this morning. The mission was called off when a technical snag was observed in the 640-ton, 14-story rocket launcher. It's going to be more than just hot this week in Chicago and most of the state. National Weather Service is calling for dangerously hot weather by Friday. Heat index numbers near 110. Chicago police are searching for two wanted for questioning in a deadly stabbing over the weekend on a CTA Red Line train. Some records in R&B singer R. Kelly's divorce files are expected to be made public today. The Cook County judge ruling last week that files that do not contain sensitive information will be released. Cubs with 3 home runs. They beat the Pirates 8-3 at Wrigley Field. A's trimmed the White Sox 3-2 in Oakland. The news is a service of Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher reacts to the Democratic debate.
It was just a train wreck, and it was underwhelming, and it was boring, and it was weird, and it was pandering, and it was a battle to see who's going to offer more free stuff to the American people. There's a big picture takeaway here. There is nobody so far that emerges as somebody likely to stop the Donald Trump juggernaut.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer. Is your old AC a clunker?
Does it clunk, leak, or make weird noises? Could be it's on its way out. Luckily, the highly trained techs at your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning will replace your AC with new top-tier equipment. And isn't that what you want to hear? Right now, get big savings on a complete cooling system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
While I'm searching for the perfect balance, there's hundreds of thousands of chemicals just in an apple alone, and hundreds of thousands in an orange, and all of them. If I can just remove the water without damaging all of the other chemistry, then I can pack it more dense. I never imagined that I would be able to get it down to 3 fruit capsules and 3 vegetable capsules and have the same nutrient value as eating over 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
It is 6:36 in the AM 560 traffic center. Let's get the very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Northbound tri-state traffic is heavy 95th to LaGrange Road and from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, also farther north from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Eastbound Reagan Tollway delays are 83 to Roosevelt due to construction. Edens is 20 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 11 from Montrose, 8 on the Express. Outbound, looking at 40 minutes downtown to the airport. Westbound 190 is heavy as well. On Eisenhower, delays start around Manheim. 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 40. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop, 418. And that's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, hot and humid clouds and sun. It will be breezy this afternoon with a high of 92. Currently, we have 74. Next news coming up at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
Yo, Tommy H. Let's kick 'em.
Top of the morning, right, Dan and Amy.
Collaborate and listen.
Remember this?
Back with some hardcore community.
Yeah, I remember.
We don't take that light.
No.
He'll be knocking doors daily and nightly.
Yeah.
Where will they go? Yo, I don't know.
Vanilla Ice's alter ego.
You'll go. To the extreme, he deports all the vandals. This whole thing is something Ice will handle.
Yeah, well, sort of. Not exactly Robert Van Winkle's timing, but he's getting there. Still young.
Pretty good.
All right. Speaking of the ICE raids that ostensibly began yesterday. I mean, ICE raids, this is also put upon. One of my favorite headlines.
What?
Yahoo News. Immigrants in Miami, New York, Chicago. Immigrants, not illegal immigrants.
Uh-huh.
Brace for ICE raids. So immigrants, anybody who's an immigrant to this country, legal or illegal, should be afraid of ICE? Afraid that ICE may be coming for them? No. Brace for, I love that. They're victims of a natural disaster that's coming their way. Brace for. Let me ask you this question, do you think? What percentage of the D.C. press corps has the exact same positions as the Socialists and the Democrat Party on border security, meaning if asked to raise their hands and say, I support taxpayer-funded health insurance for people in this country legally, they would raise their hands just as all 12 Democrat socialists did during that debate. If asked to raise their hand for decriminalization of border crossings, they would raise their hand. If asked if they want to abolish ICE, if they even want to go so far as to abolish DHS, they would raise their hand. And do you think that percentage of journalists in the press corps who would raise their hands, you think that informs their coverage of this issue? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Mayor Lori the Lightfoot raised her hand this weekend in advance of these roundups.
That didn't happen. Well, I mean, there's possibly one guy that was taken into custody in Albany Park.
We'll have to watch it. I mean, it's,
Well,
first of all, you gave them... you gave everybody a heads up. They knows they have a court order entered against them. And two, this takes time. We don't suddenly have tens of thousands of ICE agents we previously didn't have. They're going to swoop in and just collect up 500,000 people. This is a laborious and oftentimes dangerous process.
Yeah, and I'd heard that they altered their plans because illegals were tipped off. Well, yeah, no, duh.
Sure, not to mention being provided aid and comfort from Dem politicians across the country, including Lori the Lightfoot.
So I want to make sure that you, as our friends and neighbors, understand that we stand with you and we support you. These are difficult times. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty, and we certainly understand that. But the thing that you can do to give yourself some power is to really know your rights. Understand that ICE can't come and take you out of your home unless they have a signed order by a judge. And unless you see that, you don't have to let them in your house. If you're at work, same thing. They must have a signed order by a judge. It's not enough to be a signature of an agent. And if you're an employer and ICE comes and serves a subpoena, you have 72 hours before you have to turn over any paperwork. We are doing everything we can throughout Chicago to work with individuals and advocacy groups to make sure that we get the word out so that you understand the power that you have. And that power is knowledge about your rights. We will stand with you, we will support you, and we will be there with you as neighbors, as friends through this difficult time.
And Democratic aldermen were riding divvy bikes through Little Village and Pilsen to make sure ICE wasn't doing any door-to-doors or detaining anybody. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, vigilantes, we're taking it to the streets.
Well, that's fine. You want to apprise people of their rights. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with apprising people of the laws? Anybody have a problem with what Lori the Lightfoot said in that public service announcement?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. But also, Dan, she had a message for President Trump.
I hope that the president, and somewhere his conscience is pricked, and he realizes that dangling this sword over people's head is causing great harm and trauma.
Because they're saying, instead of that, they're going to be taking families. That was what this raid was supposed to be on, instead of taking people who have committed a crime. Because that's who President Trump wants out of this country first.
Is it Trump's sword? That they have had their cases adjudicated. There is a court order that demands they leave.
Here's the acting ICE director.
Can you guarantee that no parents will be separating from their children in these raids?
In the same way I wasn't willing to talk about operational details, that would be an operational detail that I'm not going to comment on. There are 1 million people, including families, with removal orders. The priority remains for ICE to get at criminals.
That's Ken Cuccinelli, who's the Citizenship and Immigration Services officer. But okay. So what's the problem with apprising people of their rights? And is it Trump's sword? I mean, is there any Chicago member of the Chicago Press Corps that just wants to ask a simple question of a former federal prosecutor? On any other illegal act, you're citing the law, so let's talk about the law. You know that being in this country illegally is breaking the law, right? There are penalties that are attached, right? Statutory. We can read them together, right? Yes. Okay. So with respect to any other criminal activity, would you take to the public airwaves to apprise suspected criminals of their rights? Would you do so for people trafficking in illegal guns? Anybody who's trafficking in illegal guns, I want to apprise you of your rights in case Chicago police officers come to your home. In case the FBI comes to your home. Child sex traffickers, please know your rights in the event that the FBI knocks on your door. And I'm not comparing being in this country illegally to those crimes. It could be something more pedestrian. Vandals, those who vandalize the Bean or other public structures. I want to apprise you of your rights, just in case Chicago police, local law enforcement, accost you, detain you, come to your home or place of business. Would any politician do that for any other crime? And if so, why not? You're just apprising people of your rights, of their rights, right? What's wrong with that? No biggie. Mark in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You nailed it. These people are so disingenuous. Instead of fear-mongering and making it sound like ICE is going to descend and raid, I should be pointing out that it's specifically targeting just a handful of people on the final deportation order. We're not hounding people looking for their papers.
Yeah, they know that.
Enforcing a court order.
Yes. Yeah, Mark, thanks for the call. They know that. Don't tell me Lori Lightfoot doesn't know that. She knows that. They don't care. That's the takeaway. They are pretending to not know things they know. They are demagoguing the issue. And they're gaslighting the, marginally in touch electorate with their demagoguery. That's the whole point. Trump, bad man, sword of Damocles. He's hanging over the heads of people in this country, not even people, of immigrants.
One alderman said, are you ready? In areas like Pilsen, the threats of the raids have been detrimental to the economies of these areas.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's an economic boondoggle.
Over the period of this is what Lori Lightfoot's been up to. The last 3 months, Lori and her administration went on a neighborhood listening tour. Finally, we have a politician doing a listening tour. So good.
You love those, don't you?
They heard from 28 community organizations about what issues were most important to address. Oh, really? Any of those issues shock you? What were the surprises that you heard?
Violence?
6 sessions, the north, south, and west sides of the city. We don't get public policy right if we don't engage the people most affected by the policy. Well, that would be everybody. Mm-hmm. And the big takeaway, you ready for this?
Yeah.
More collaboration with community organizations and the people. So we did a 3-month listening tour to get to, we're going to do more in terms of collaborating with affected parties. That's super fantastic. Mm-hmm. Marshall Plan for the West South Side, maybe, or some other such thing. Just a little thought experiment. My friend.
I knew you had a friend.
Offered up. Associate.
Oh.
Friends, strong. I was using the sort of the common parlance, but
okay.
I was imprecise. I apologize. Right. Associate. But a thought experiment he did with respect to all the governance of urban centers. Like Time Machine. Go back to, say, Hell's Kitchen in the first part of the 20th century and the families that were most discriminated against culturally. That would be the Jews back then and that area of, the west side of Manhattan. And ask them this question. If we could go back and give you all these welfare state programs that didn't exist then but exist now, would you take them, or would you have chosen to do what you did with the way that you raised your children, took care of your family, and ultimately made your way in the world? Wouldn't it be interesting to get responses from immigrant families who actually lived and worked through that period in the slums of New York, for example? I mean, you do that anyway. You do it in Chicago, too. Go back to Roseland 60 years ago. and ask them the same questions. Back before, when Roseland was not one of the most violent neighborhoods on the south side.
We had a lot of, my grandpa's friends were all born in Roseland.
Middle-income families, black and white. And what do you think people would say? Do you think that the lessons from the World War I and II generations, do you think they would say, oh yeah, gosh, if we would have had all of those welfare state programs, things would have been so much better, and that's what I would have chosen because it would have been easier? Or do they look at it now through the lens of the long term and say, no, we were right to do what we did, which was the point was to get out, not be comfortable. The point was to work and scrimp and save to get out. The point was to make sure the kids were in good schools so they would get out. And what do you hear from the politicians today? I mean, the idea, like, protect people in this country legally, even with a court order for deportation because of because they're a one more revenue agent that we need to keep this house of cards up in Chicago. Oh, that's just a wonderful rallying to the poor and the downtrodden, the striving. Give me a break. You think the Marshall Plan for the west side and south sides of the city, you think that's compassionate? You think that's what's going to turn around those neighborhoods or families? Why do you want those families to stay in shooting galleries? You don't. You want them to get out. They probably want to get out if they could. So why would we try programs at this stage that, we're going to stay here, we're going to stubbornly stay here, and then we're going to turn around our neighborhoods. And the way we're going to do it is by Lori Lightfoot or some other politician selling some more bonds and pouring the proceeds into our neighborhoods, because that hasn't been tried for the last 70 years. More welfare programs. We're going to get Kamala Harris's federal grant to put a down payment on a home in Lawndale. Yeah, right. Are you kidding? Just ask, to the extent that you have people with that nexus, but even think about it yourself. I'm sure there are people alive today whose parents lived through the Depression. And what would they say about what was the way out? By having government programs keep you comfortable in the short term, or by having a disposition to strive and engage in all those responsible behaviors that get you out of a situation that you don't want to be in? How many kids has the government raised successfully? How many people grow up to say, you know what it was? And I'm not talking about apocryphal stories like Tom Jode Warren's story about how she got some federal loan money to go to community college, and that was set her on her way to Harvard Law School. A bunch of nonsense. You think the government is the path to prosperity and independence? The government is in the business of dependence. And that's what all these politicians, including Lori the Lightfoot, are in the business of. Making people dependent permanently. Stay there, don't move, don't change your mentality, certainly don't change your habits on election day, and we'll send you some more cash. That's compassion.
And we'll talk more.
That's brotherly love. Yeah, we'll have more listening sessions. Yeah, we'll collaborate with you more. We'll pat you on the head and say, oh, isn't it terrible what's happening there? Somebody's got to do something about that. I'm not taking this anymore, blah, 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 blah.
Got a great text message. This ICE raids that didn't happen, this makes Trump look weak. If the illegals were tipped off, it was Trump who did the tipping.
Well, yeah, and right. So what you're saying is he shouldn't have delayed it 2 weeks, given Pelosi 2 weeks for more negotiation on the border. I agree. Fine. But guess what?
Refuge in churches.
Fine. It only lasts so long. Here's the position the president should take. It's not about week, and it's not going to happen in one day. It's that this is media manufactured. The test of whether or not we're serious is going to happen on Sunday, July 14th. Let ICE do their job. That's the position. Let ICE do their job. Starting with violent criminals, and then next to people who have final court orders entered against them. With how many ever that is, from wherever they come. Tell me why you're opposed to that, Lori the Lightfoot Anybody else? Make an argument. Force people to make an argument, not repeat a slogan. Steve on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I was talking with my brother-in-laws about this, and we're just infuriated by how none of the politicians represent the citizens anymore. And they just take our money and give it to people who aren't from this country. So what we're thinking about is all the listeners shouldn't answer the census, because this way we start taking away population count and the number of politicians hopefully go down, the representation goes down. I mean, Lightfoot doesn't want to give access to a database, a police database that we paid for, taxpayers' money. It's lawless. So I think all the listeners should spread the word. Don't take the census. Don't answer it.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Or take it in the state to which you move, which is happening anyway. I mean, Illinois is going to lose probably two members of Congress after the 2020 census. Is that an indictment of the Governor Spalding, Lori the Lightfoot model of governance previously practiced by Republicans and Democrats alike? What's a bigger indictment? People leaving who don't want to leave. That's Illinois. Oh, by the way, where are they going? They're just going to warm weather places like Indiana. Yeah. Indiana, $42 million budget surplus this fiscal year, reserve balance of $2 billion, which is about 10% of their annual spend. Must be just those mean-hearted conservatives in Indiana. I guess people in Indiana hate people. You want to talk about violence on the South Side, West Side? You want to talk about violence in urban centers? You should read Curtis Hill's piece. He's the Attorney General of Indiana. He's black. He's also a Republican. He talks about crime in the black community and black communities disproportionately black communities around the country, and with the relationship with police. It's about 180 degrees from what you hear from Lori Lightfoot and the other Chicago Democrats who've lorded over the city and state for 100 years. So who's got it right? Chicago got the model that we should scale, do you think? Illinois does? Who believes that? Even men and women of the left. I'd love for somebody to come in and defend the Chicago and Illinois model and tell us how well it's going. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking to you. Last night I was watching the Next Revolution with Steve Hilton, and he turned the question around slightly, asking one of the congressmen, who shouldn't we execute the deportation order? We have a legal document that says these people should be deported. Which people should not be then deported? Are you going to avoid the law?
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Bob. Right. Who's exempt from the rule of law? It's a good way to do it. Dan in Libertyville.
Hello, thanks for taking my call. When I was a kid, I went down to Springfield on a school trip, and I went before the Illinois State Supreme Court, and I looked at this statue, and it really struck me. I took a photograph of it, and I tried to post, and every time I tried and post it, Google would take it down. It's Lady Liberty sitting in a chair. The scales of justice are at her feet, and she looks simply disheveled and frustrated. And I looked at that, and I said, is that a symbol of what our justice system is in Illinois? I mean, are they making it that blatantly clear that they actually made a statue and put it in front of the state Supreme Court?
Yeah.
But it's worse than that.
She's taking a beating. Thanks for the call, Dan.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Every company has unique shipping challenges. Whether it's managing time-sensitive 1- and 2-day deliveries, reducing truckload and LTL spend, or managing a large number of shipments at one time without enough staff to track it all. At Yellowstone Logistics, they manage customer shipments so you can focus on your own business. As part of the $2 billion a year Global Trans Network, Yellowstone offers their customers access to over 30,000 18-wheelers, 50 LTL network carriers, and access to hundreds hundreds of Sprinter van and box trucks that can manage your time-sensitive shipments 7 days a week. Yellowstone Logistics specializes in managing their customers' time-sensitive 1- and 2-day deliveries and provides reporting on delivery progress as frequently as needed to manage your or your customers' reporting expectations. Visit them today at YellowstoneLogistics.com and see how they can help you manage your logistics needs. YellowstoneLogistics.com. Call 847-213-9329.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
WIND, Chicago.
No reports of big raids so far. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Immigration agents were supposed to be going out in several major cities.
It shows you how far we've fallen in that it's become news that they would actually go deport people who have removal orders.
Acting Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Ken Cuccinelli on ABC's This Week. It's been quiet in Chicago, where Fox's Mike Tobin is.
There were some arrests that happened prior to that Sunday mark when things were supposed to begin, but the notion of a big roundup never materialized. What materialized was a lot of counter demonstrations here in Chicago. Members of the Hispanic community.
Democrats are very critical of the raids, especially those running for president, including Beto O'Rourke.
Will tarnish the great tradition of this country and will be a stain on our conscience for as long as we allow this to persist.
Now, Beto O'Rourke is among the Democrats who support reparations for African Americans whose descendants were slaves, and he tweeted yesterday he and his wife are both descendants of slave owners. The Democratic frontrunner has unveiled his health care plan as some rivals call for Medicare for all. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, former Vice President Biden wants all Americans to be able to buy into Medicare if they want to. His health care plan, released this morning, would build on the Affordable Care Act, which he calls an historic achievement, in a new campaign video.
I know how hard it is to get that passed. I watched it. Starting over makes no sense to me at all.
Biden says his proposal would increase tax credits for those covered through Obamacare. The plan would cost $750 billion over 10 years and be paid for by raising capital gains taxes on wealthier Americans. Dave?
Rachel, Democrats have attacked President Trump's weekend tweets critical of several freshman congresswomen as racist. He just tweeted again this morning, if Democrats want to unite around the foul language and racist hatred spewed from the mouths of these very unpopular congresswomen, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Skies are clear. We have 75 degrees, getting a bit breezy out there this morning at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It's going to be more than just hot this week in Chicago and most of the state. Dangerously hot, according to the National Weather Service. Heat index numbers will make it feel closer to 110 by the end of the week. Chicago police are searching this morning for two wanted for questioning in a deadly stabbing over the weekend on a CTA Red Line train. Troy Johnson got into an argument with another person Saturday while riding the train near the 100 block of West Cermak. The other person took out a knife and then stabbed Johnson to death before getting off the train at the Cermak Chinatown stop. Authorities have identified the mother and her two teenage sons after they were killed in a murder-suicide last week in Elmhurst. DuPage County Sheriff's Office says Jamie Jones shot and killed 16-year-old Jason Harris and 19-year-old Nathan Harris in her home on Willow Road Friday night. She then set the home on fire and turned the gun on herself. The incident initially began as a fire investigation, but later was ruled a murder-suicide. There was some tension over the weekend over the possibility of immigration raids taking place in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot reiterated again the city would not cooperate with federal police.
We will not, as a city, do anything to facilitate the heartless work of ICE, who's been weaponized by this president.
President Trump said the arrests of legally prosecuted criminals will begin over the weekend in 10 cities. Cubs over the Pirates 8-3. A's edge the White Sox 3-2. The news service of Discover Home Equity Loans. Make home improvements or consolidate debt with a home equity loan from Discover Bank. NMLS ID 684042. Save with 0 application fees, 0 appraisal fees, and 0 cash due at closing. Learn more at discoverhomeequityloans.com. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
That's what this radio show is. I tell you what I think, period.
The Joe Walsh Show.
And then you call in and you tell me what you think. And we don't have to fight with each other. We don't have to hurl insults at each other. We'll agree sometimes. We'll disagree sometimes. Big deal. To me, that makes for the most interesting radio. I'm going to tell you what I think, honestly. And I want you to do the same.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
All right, if your roof's needy, you can call Grumweedy. Hey, Sean Hannity here. If your roof is leaky, if the shingles are curling, or if your roof isn't right after storms, then you need to call Crumweedy with roofing companies, and the difference is, of course, installation. Now, Crumweedy, they know that, and that's why they follow the manufacturer's specifications, so your warranty is totally intact, and many companies don't do that, and that could void your warranty. If you hate high-pressure sales tactics, not from Crumweedy. They give you good, better, best options. You make the choice, no pressure. Crumweedy is a roof that lasts at a fair price. Now, Mark Olson and Greg Olson of Crumweedy, they lead this third-generation family business that's been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953. Now, they fix roof problems, so if your roof is needy, call Crumweedy. That's 630-595-8020. That's 630-595-8020. They're online, of course, at myroofisneedy.com.
Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only.
7:07 on AM 560. It is time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It is time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL. Let's get an update on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Eisenhower at Central Park Boulevard. There's a crash blocking the right lane. This is going to cause travel time to rise there. We're seeing scattered delays starting around Manheim, especially heavy then approaching Central Park Boulevard. And then again, from Holman into the Burn Circle, looking now at about 45 minutes from 390 to downtown, outbound 40. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 13 from Montrose, 9 to the Express, outbound 48 to the airport. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound it is an hour. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Reagan Tollway, it's bottled up, 83 to Roosevelt. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Steve Williams.
Clouds and sun, hot and humid, breezy today, high 92. It'll be partly cloudy, warm tonight, low 74. Clouds warm and humid, thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 86. And then clouds and sun, hot and humid Wednesday, high 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
75 at O'Hare, next news 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Are threats ratcheting up? The threat of war, is that ratcheting up after some confrontations between the Brits and the Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz last week? Well, I don't think so, but we'll ask experts. Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano will also talk a little immigration policy as well as big tech. Peter Thiel, one of the President Trump's big backers, had some choice words at a conference about Google. Want to get Jim Carafano's reactions to. So let's go to him now. He is Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation and author of books including Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World, and Private Sector Public Wars, Contractors in Combat. Jim, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
So the Iranians and the Brits and that conflict that they had, Straits of Gibraltar to the Strait of Hormuz, does that mean we're any closer to a war between Iran and the West?
I think so. Like I said before, most of these activities are kind of things in kind, so they don't necessarily reflect escalation as kind of activities that are similar to kind of what they did before. So the other thing is, and I think this is always a challenge when we deal with the Iranian regime, is it's not a coherent whole. It's not like when President Trump says, do this, everybody does that. There are factions and elements in the regime that could often be acting independently. So when you see something happening at the tactical level, the first thing you have to figure out is that directly signaling from the rulers in Tehran, or is that just somebody kind of showboating and trying to drive foreign policy on their own? So I think the red line here, clearly for the U.S., has been if you're killing or detaining human beings, then we have a problem. In this case, the British deterred that, so that may I think that's something that stays below the threshold.
And is this these incidents are they indicative of Iran really being hammered by the sanctions, their economy prompting them to take more bellicose measures to try and get attention and do something about the sanctions that are crippling it?
Well, I think the Iranians must be smart enough. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in Tehran, but I mean, they've got to be smart enough to figure out that the Europeans, or pressuring the Europeans, is not going to get them out of sanctions. And it's very unlikely the U.S. is going to back down. What these seem more to be is to be provocative, and then in tandem with that, to do the enriching. So if Trump does get reelected, and this is the guy they face, and they have to go back to the negotiating table to get out from underneath the sanctions, they have something to negotiate with. We can be less bellicose. We can back off on our processing. So I think that seems to add up to the plan.
Well, how do you see this ending?
Well, I think we're in a status quo which could sustain for some time. I think particularly until the Iranians decide what exactly the Europeans can and can't do and where this administration is going. I think there's a strong expectation, or there could well be, that, look, if Trump doesn't get reelected, we've seen enough rhetoric from the other side. The United States could come back. They could rejoin the deal. We might have to, do nothing. All you have to do is tough it out for 18 months. So, from the Iranian standpoint, maybe that's a bet worth taking. What happens? I mean, they can certainly tough through 18 months. If in 18 months they're no better off than they were before and Trump is still there, then they can start negotiating.
Billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel had some choice words over the weekend in the speech he gave covering big tech as well as war. He basically had some pointed questions for Google, like how much of Google's technology has been stolen by China? How much of their staff processes are compromised by China? Why do they work for the Chinese government but refuse to work with the U.S. government? He also suggests that their big AI project is dual use, and much the way he suggests the hydrogen bomb work back by Teller and Oppenheimer was dual use, although Google is not transparent about the military use. That's a lot there with respect to Google, but since you are knowledgeable in this space, are those good questions that he should be asking? And then maybe is that the area where a big tech company like Google should really be the source of the most concern?
Well, I mean, I think those are legitimate questions. I think it's not just questions to ask of Google. Having talked to several Google executives, that's, I think, a question that Google is asking itself. Indeed, a lot of the big tech companies are asking themselves on the front of, are we giving away technologies which potentially have tremendous national security implications? That is something increasingly which falls under the purview of what's called CFIUS, which is a process that we have that looks at investments of foreign countries in the United States. The other thing is we have a regime for this if that is a legitimate concern, which is under limits on what national security technologies you can export. So I think, in fairness to all of us, we are all going into this world. I mean, just a few years ago, a lot of us were debating, well, China will be fine, no, it won't be fine, or everything else. I think the majority of politicians, corporate executives in America have realized that China's rise is not benign, and there are real national security threats to us. And now we're well past the time to start a serious discussion of how do we address them.
And so Thiel apparently called for like an FBI, CIA look at these questions that he's raising. Do you think that's legitimate, or do you think the internal processes at the Pentagon and the oversight entities there can handle this matter?
I mean, I think, in fairness, that there's an awful lot of intelligence activity already going on in this area. One of the reasons why countries using Huawei technology in their emerging 5G networks, these are new telecom wireless networks that require new software and hardware. The cheapest purveyor of that is China, but an awful lot of intelligence work has been done to demonstrate there are massive, significant security risks that are engendered in that. So, I mean, that's indicative, I think, of the fact the intelligence community is already spending a lot of time in this area.
Just sticking in the tech area for a moment, but intersecting with presidential politics, Kamala Harris said over the weekend on a radio program that we already know that Russian bots are targeting my campaign. Is that something that she could possibly know?
Yeah, actually, it is possible that they could know that. I mean, that's not super high tech, that hard to figure out. Look, here's what we know about Russian disinformation operations. They're not targeted really for or against anybody. They're targeted to achieve maximum disruption in the American polity, or in other countries that are attacking. It's not so much the outcome they achieve, but if they're undermining credibility, if they're undermining integrity, then they're happy. And so the answer is deal with it. And we all know that Russia is a bad actor. And that's just something that we have to be prepared for. Look, let's not pretend that this never happened. It had never happened in American history. Before the outbreak of World War II, all the adversaries, Russians, the Germans, the Japanese, the British, to their extent, tried to get involved in influencing U.S. politics. Right? This is a fact of life that external actors try to do this. They have new tools to do with that, but the impulse is not new. But in the end, and this is, I think we have to make a distinction between that and Americans have the capacity to make up their own mind of what they want and don't want. So on the one hand, I would say don't blame your political successes and failures on external actors. But on the other hand, we should all recognize that external actors are trying to do that, and it's bad and unacceptable behavior.
Now, yesterday was supposed to be the big ICE roundup. 2,000 people were supposed to be taken into custody in various cities, mostly sanctuary cities around this country. It didn't happen. Does President Trump, does this make him look weak?
I don't know. I don't know what the plan was, and I don't know what the plan is. I would say that arresting 2,000 people unlawfully present in this country is not exactly my idea of a roundup or a raid. We have about 1 million people in this country who have what's called a valid deportation order, which means they've exhausted every single legal means they have under the Constitution to legally remain in this country. And theoretically, if any of them were picked up any day of the week, they would be put through an expedited removal process and sent out of the country. I don't know, what the plan is. There are a number of factors that you have to think about. Among the other ones are people actively trying to thwart your ability to follow the law, which is not good. But then also, even people that you're going to put through an expedited removal process have to be detained, and there's got to be questions about capacity and stuff for that, because that'll immediately be an issue that they're also challenged about. So they have to be smart about how they do this. But there's plenty of people out there that should be appropriately picked up and removed from the country.
He is Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, retired, Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at Heritage, Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World, and Private Sector Public Wars, Contractors in Combat are two of his books. Jim, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, great being with you.
Take care.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Individual results may vary. Exclusions apply.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just call 1-800-500-0251. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, call 1-800-500-0251. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's 1-800-500-0251.
The life issue is once again at the forefront in America. While some states are passing heartbeat bills to protect life, states like Illinois are rolling back restrictions, and that means now more than ever, women facing crisis pregnancies need options. That's what Heartbeat International provides. Heartbeat International runs an option line, a toll-free 24-hour-a-day phone line staffed by consultants who are there to provide women with options for medical care and support, maternity homes, and adoption centers. All those resources exist for one reason, to prevent abortion. That's what Heartbeat International is about, and every day their option line receives more than 1,000 contacts. But there's a cost to keeping the option line running, and that cost is $75 per hour. So right now we're asking you to partner with us and Heartbeat International to sponsor 1 hour of the option line for just $75. That's all it takes to sponsor an hour, just a gift of $75. To do that, go to saveababynow.com. That's saveababynow.com. Or call 800-999-7408. Your gift of $75 could be what it takes for a woman to choose life. Again, the phone number, toll-free, 800-999-7408, or the website, saveababynow.com.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I have been plagued with esophagus acid, and it burns the esophagus. I've had it for 30 years. And I've had doctors give me prescriptions for it and everything. I never got rid of it. I've been on the Balance of Nature for about 3.5, 4 months. It is completely gone. I didn't even notice it. It has to be the Balance of Nature because it's the only supplement I'm taking. And I just wanted you to know that because it's made a world of difference in my life. I just wanted to let you know.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. If you get the feeling your deposits don't matter to your bank, then maybe you're not with the right bank. At Signature Bank, your deposits matter to us as much as your business loans. Signature provides unmatched banking expertise, custom financial solutions, and the industry's best technology to closely held Chicagoland businesses. Whether your business is looking for a deposit relationship or needs a ready source for financing, Signature Bank is the right bank for you. Call us today to see how Signature Bank can help your business grow and thrive.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so gathering of climate alarmists in Naperville. Locally, got all the stars out. All the stars out.
Such as who?
Saka Durbin, senior senator.
He had a busy weekend. He was in Little Village riding a divvy bike trying to save people from deportation.
No question.
Or did he rent a scooter?
The scooters would have been better.
I think so, too.
It'd be more fun. Sean Casten, Bill Foster also there, two congressmen from the region represented, covering DuPage County.
Was fake nurse there?
Republican
Underwood?
bastion. No Underwood. Casten, Foster, Durbin, and special guest, Tom Skilling. Tom Skilling from WGN. He's so accurate, he's making it happen. Right. Hardly. He is to weather reporting what his brother was to accounting.
Hey-o.
And so what'd you get? Well, here's Sean Casten.
Oh, boy.
Congratulations, western and northwestern suburbs.
This is real stuff. 50% of all of the carbon dioxide that we have ever emitted into the atmosphere as a species, in the entire time that our species has been on the Earth, has been emitted since 1980.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard his voice.
And so connect the dots for us, Sean. Anybody? Actually, Patrick Moore did for us on, what was it, Thursday last week?
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace, he connected the dots on this false metric of carbon parts per million as some sort of indication of the apocalypse. And these are people, your duly elected congressman out there in the western burbs, congratulations, and a senator for the last 25 years, who believe the world is going to end in 12 years if you don't cede control of your life and your sources of energy to them. And we're Midwestern pragmatists, are we? Reasonable people. Here's Dick Durbin with a reasonable proposal for you.
U.S. savings bonds paid for World War II. Individual families and people stepped up and bought $18.75 savings bonds. And with that money, we funded a victory in World War II. I believe climate bonds can do the same.
Oh, get your climate bonds, line up. Hey-o.
You could be the poster girl.
$30? How much for a climate?
I want you to buy climate bonds, and it could be Durbin dressed up as, I don't know, one of the planets or something, or all of them, all the politicians. They can form the entire solar system like a high school or grade school diorama.
Yeah.
What about that? And they can go around on their divvy bikes and sell climate change bonds when they're warning people that ice is coming. A little bit of a twofer.
And if the judge didn't sign a warrant, don't go.
Would you buy climate bonds? Fund the war effort, the war on climate change.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I mean, you believe this stuff?
No.
I'd have some questions. I didn't have a chance to go to the forum because I have better things to do. But anybody ask, hey, if the argument is so solid, then why do you have agencies like NOAA falsifying data and resistant to provide data for peer review? Why are the temperature models wrong? Why are the apocalyptic predictions from Al Gore on down wrong? What is it exactly that you want to do to save the planet? I mean, be specific. What is it you want from me? What is it that I'm going to have to give up, whether in terms of dollars or freedom, so that you can save me from climate change? Please be specific. Any of those questions asked? No. Because Trump is bad.
He's a racist. He's a xenophobe.
Sean Casten, who, by the way, compared Trump and Trump supporters to Osama bin Laden, because he's a reasonable guy. Thoughtful, middle-of-the-road kind of guy. Dick Durbin. You know what he compared U.S. troops to. Never held to account for that.
What? Remind me.
Because he made, crocodile tears on the Senate floor and begged for people's forgiveness, which is he did as sincerely as he's done anything else the last 25 years, which is to say, not sincerely. Right. Remember, U.S. troops after Abu Ghraib in Iraq War II were nothing better than Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge, Soviet commissars. You remember that riff?
Yeah.
Among so many great riffs we've heard from Saka Durbin over his glorious 25-year reign in Illinois, courtesy of this super enlightened electorate that we feature in this state. Another good piece I'll tweet out from the Manhattan Contrarian on just the facts, Joe Friday, just the facts of what the global alarmists in academia, underwritten by tax dollars, have said would happen, what their models have predicted, and how wrong they were, and the instances, as I just mentioned, of falsifying data. Do you find that when somebody falsifies information that's supposed to buttress their argument, it strengthens it or weakens it? Can I ask that simple question? People falsifying data, you tend to be more likely to believe what they have to say about the future and what we should do, or less likely? Well, maybe that's a question one of those hate has no home here Hinsdalians can post to Sean Casten when some doctor out there hosts a fundraiser for him. Champagne socialist disgrace.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Sarah Longwell. She's the publisher of The Bulwark about the Never Trump Democrat Socialist breakup at 7:37.
And later, how a lick could lead to prison. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
77 degrees at 7:31. President Trump's ICE raids did not materialize into anything on a large scale over the weekend. Some removals were reported. They were focused on about 2,000 illegal immigrants who had been sent final orders of removal after going through judicial process. Some arrests were reported yesterday, but they were routine activity for federal police and immigrations and customs enforcement. Forecasters are warning of possible flooding in the lower Mississippi and Ohio valleys this week because of what is now Tropical Depression Barry. Convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein will get a bail hearing today. The bail hearing for the offender and well-known investor will happen a little later. Noam Laden says his lawyers right now are ready to offer up just about anything they can to spring him from his Manhattan jail cell.
He has offered to put up his $77 million Upper East Side home and private jet as collateral to guarantee he'll show up for trial on sex trafficking charges. His lawyers say he should be out on bail until then, promising to fit Epstein with a monitoring bracelet, install surveillance cameras in his home, and pay for 24/7 security to keep an eye on him. Epstein is sitting in a jail in Manhattan, 3 cell doors down from Mexican drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
Texas Supreme Court will hear a case involving a Dallas hospital where a nurse contracted Ebola on the job. You may recall this story. Amber Vinson was exposed to the virus in 2014 while working at a Texas Health Presbyterian hospital. A few days later, she tried on a dress at an Ohio bridal and formal shop. She was diagnosed with Ebola after returning to Dallas. The shop says it had to shut down, claims it lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The case will be heard on November 7. It's going to be more than just hot this week in the Chicago area. National Weather Service calling for dangerously hot weather. By the end of the week, heat index numbers in the 110s to 115s. Cubs smack 3 home runs. They beat the Pirates 8-3 at Wrigley Field. A's over the White Sox in Oakland, 3-2. For the second year in a row, a first-time winner walking away with the trophy at the John Deere Classic. South African golfer Dylan Fratelli won the tournament, shooting a final round 7 under 64. The news service of Discover Home Equity Loans. Make home improvements or consolidate debt with a home equity loan from Discover Bank. An MLS ID number 684042. Save with 0 application fees, 0 appraisal fees, and 0 cash due at closing. Learn more at discoverhomeequityloans.com. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Gas prices in Illinois have gone up. Way up.
Fill her up.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker and our lawmakers in Springfield. You're probably feeling some pain at the pump. Well, AM 560 and Croggy's Mobile Service Center in Addison want to ease your pain by giving you a $50 gas card. That's right, $50 to fill up your tank at any Exxon Mobil station. To enter for your chance to win, go to 560theanswer.com/gas.
Is your old AC a clunker? Does it clunk, leak, or make weird noises? Could be it's on its way out. Luckily, the highly trained techs at your local 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning will replace your AC with new top-tier equipment. And isn't that what you want to hear? Right now, get big savings on a complete cooling system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Comfort is just a call away. Call 1-HOUR.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Summer is here, and Matt's got the barbecue out all ready to grill. That's why he trusts Super Poly Grip, so he can enjoy his steak with full confidence.
Poly Grip.
Sounds like there's a party going on, but something's missing. The birthday gal's arrived, and thanks to Polydent, her bright smile is anything but a surprise.
Polydent.
Every commercial building has one. It's the first impression. It matters to people who visit your building. It matters to the people who work there. And it should matter to you. Get a quote. It's your parking lot. It speaks volumes about the commercial building and the business. Get a great parking lot. GreatParkingLots.com.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great.
GreatParkingLots.com. Decades of experience making Chicagoland parking lots great. Great Parking Lots is an industry leader in seal coating. They use a process that not only works great, but is made to last longer. It's a good parking lot investment, and you can do business with a company that shares your values. Great Parking Lots.
I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Check it out. GreatParkingLots.com.
Commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. Get a great parking lot. Just remember, GreatParkingLots.com.
7:37 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Northbound Tri-State delays are from 95th Street to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. It's about Adams Tollway at Stop and Go lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway from 83 to Roosevelt to the northbound Veterans Memorial. Fountain to Maple, Butterfield to Roosevelt, and from Army Trail to 290. Edens runs 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 51 with additional delays on 190. On Eisenhower, after a crash at Costner, it's down to about 40 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound an hour. Ryan 24 minutes, 95th to downtown, outbound 5 at 15. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, a hot and humid day ahead. Clouds and sunshine, turning a little bit breezy this afternoon with a high of 92. Currently 77. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee. When
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. Started out as a Trump opponent. He ran for president, and he hasn't always agreed with the president. But when he does so vociferously, and he was on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend with respect to border security and the condition at border detention facilities and so forth. And Lindsey Graham was not providing much quarter to those sentimental barbarians on the left, to say the least.
I saw a system completely overwhelmed for no good reason. Our laws are set up such that if you can bring a small child to America coming from Central America, we can only hold the child for 20 days. Then we let the entire family go because we don't want to separate families. We can't process a case in 20 days. What did I see? 52,000 people have been released into the interior of the United States from this one Border Patrol area alone. What did I see? A system about to break. I saw brave men and women who are doing an incredible job under difficult circumstances, and I'm going to introduce a resolution next week praising them, the men and women of the Border Patrol and their allies. I saw 900 illegal immigrants that were captured for coming into our country illegally, housed in detention facilities that was meant for 385, so they had to put a tent in the back. What I saw is a bunch of people have been here before, broke the law before, and we're not going to let them go. I don't care if they have to stay in these facilities for 400 days. We're not going to let those men go that I saw. It would be dangerous. And I also saw that 60 different nations are sending people here illegally. We caught people from Iran, Syria, every place in the world. They're coming through our border. All of them broke our law. Many of them have done it before, and we're not going to let them go. This is not a concentration camp that I saw. It is a facility overwhelmed. I'm willing to buy beds for these people so they'll have a better place to get a night's sleep, but I'm not going to let them go.
So, I mean, the choice is pretty stark in terms of the policy vision for border security and legal immigration. Particularly given what President Trump has already presented in terms of possible compromises for more border barrier funding with respect to DACA designees and even those who were eligible who didn't choose to avail themselves of such designation. So it makes it a bit difficult, I think, for some of our friends in the sort of Republican or neocon ranks who broke with Trump during 2016, who advocated, even some of them did, to vote for Hillary Clinton, who have broken with him on any number of occasions over the last 2.5 years, only to find themselves in this place where it's Trump or, in all likelihood, a socialist. So what's it going to be? Well, Sarah Longwell is the publisher of The Bulwark, bulwark.com. That's a new site, mentioned a couple of times here before, some pieces. That's founded by the likes of Bill Kristol, friend of the show. No, we disagree. Charlie Sykes, formerly of Milwaukee, friend of the show. We've had on, talk about his book. And are we seeing never Trumpers remove the never, if nothing but for political expedience sake in 2020? Well, let's put that to Sarah Longwell. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So that's the sort of the subject of your piece that I found
Great piece.
Interesting, called The Breakup. I mean, it just was never going to work. You and Chris Hayes arm in arm, was it?
Well, yeah, the piece is, look, for those of us who have been opposed to President Trump, you can call us never Trumpers. There's a lot of people who said never Trump and then decided that they didn't really actually mean never. But I would say that the people in our camp still mean never when it comes to Trump. However, what's going on now is as you see the Democratic candidates sort of picking up steam, they had their first debate, and I think for those of us who are never Trump, the thing that is always striking, I think, or hard for the left to remember is that we are still very much conservatives. And so when you hear Kamala Harris say that she's going to, enact her version of gun reform via executive order, or you hear Elizabeth Warren talking about eliminating private insurance, anything that Bernie Sanders says, we find ourselves in a real predicament because we disagree with absolutely everything we're hearing from the left, and yet we still are never Trump. And so that is puts us in sort of a political wasteland where we're, gotten used to living.
Well, what is your major point of contention with President Trump?
Well, I think I'll just speak for myself personally, but there really aren't enough tax cuts or judges in the world that would make me okay with or accept or ignore that he stands on a stage with Vladimir Putin and sides against America's own intelligence community. He lies every day as easy as he breathes. Just last night, we see him telling American congresswomen, because they're brown, to go back to their home countries. I mean, Trump is an illiberal, and I mean that in the broad sort of Western democracy term. He's an illiberal person who doesn't understand the fundamentals of this country. I think he is not a good person. I think he is not a good president. We are fundamentally diametrically opposed on our values. And so, there is nothing at this point that would make me say, oh, well, I like the tax cuts. I like the judges. I may agree, with certain policy areas, but I'm just going to ignore the rest of this stuff. Because for me, you cannot ignore it, and it is fundamental to who we are as a country.
And so do you think Trump, you said he's illiberal. I mean, is there something that he's done, and I don't mean instinctively wanted to do, I mean actually done. I'm not talking about tweets. I'm talking about policy decisions that has run afoul of the small L liberal traditions of our representative republic?
Well, I mean, whether it's tanks in the streets or a military parade, whether it is, I mean, let's just talk about what he just said yesterday about these congresswomen, telling them they're Americans, telling them to go back to their home country. Yeah. That is illiberal. And then let's talk about irresponsible. What do we care about as conservatives? Do we care about the debt? Do we care about the deficit? Is that important to us? Is it fundamental to what it means to be a conservative? Well, what do you think about Trump's spending habits?
Well, I don't like them. I'm appalled by them. I started from the beginning, but I also knew what I was getting when you had a candidate who said entitlements were off the table. If you're not serious about talking about entitlements, then you're not serious about doing anything to curb federal spending. So I blame both parties and all the presidents that have come before Trump, and now including Trump on that score. However, the problem I have is, on the one hand, you say, focus on things like the deficit spending, the debt accumulation. Okay, fair. Focus on things that I don't support, like the tariff policy. But you can't consider Supreme Court nominees, or you can't consider tax cuts, or you can't consider his policies or attempted policies at the border. And so I think you can't pick and choose what you want to contemplate. You have to contemplate it all, don't you? Make a sort of a realpolitik decision on the sum total of it.
You can, but then you and I are doing different math. Because to me, a Republican president who rules by executive order, who has an expansive view of executive authority, who is constantly, and this is the thing, I know it just sounds lefty to say that he's racist, but he began his whole, there's a lot of people who get accused of being racist, and I would say that's not racism, that's an overreaction from the left. This is the guy who began his whole campaign with a racist smear against President Obama, acting like he wasn't actually from this country. Now, the question is whether or not we can tolerate that as a party, whether or not we as a Republican Party are okay with and will stand by silently while he does these things. And if we say yes, then that is on us. If we trade that because we like this immigration policy, then I think we have made a grave error in our calculation.
Well, but in your piece, though, the breakup, you write, if never Trump-type Republicans want a candidate whose policies broadly align with their own preferences, they have one. His name is Donald J. Trump.
That's right, and it goes back to exactly what I just said. There aren't enough tax cuts or judges in the world to accept a president who lies constantly, who obstructs justice, and then lies about obstructing justice, who stands on a stage with Vladimir Putin and sides against our country's intelligence community, who invites foreign interference. These are just things that I think are beyond intolerable, and I won't take them as collateral for a tax cut.
So, well, right, it's not just tax cuts, but I get what you're saying. But the obstruction of justice, so you have concluded something from the Mueller report different than Mueller did.
So Mueller laid out 10 different instances of obstruction, and then he turned it over to Congress and said, and now this is on you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you read the Mueller report?
I have, yes. Mm-hmm. And we could go through all 10 because we've done that on this show.
Okay, but if you can read the Mueller report and not be so alarmed by what's going on in this government, then, it's difficult.
Well,
it's difficult to sort of, we're clearly in a different place then, because I read that report and I am startled and stunned.
Well, what bothers you the most about it? What startled you the most?
So I think telling the White House counsel to lie and then to submit things into the official record to cover for that lie, that to me is, it's a textbook case of obstruction of justice, and we should not tolerate it. I think the way that we just have become sort of numb to the things this president does, like we're numb to this tweet yesterday telling American congresswomen to go back to their own country because they're brown. To me, it is hurting something deep inside of us as a country because we are growing numb to these things, because we're so desperate to explain away what this president does and to defend him because he's on our side and because we don't like the left. But that's not good enough. We have to be good people in these circumstances and stand up for what is right.
So if the election were tomorrow, you would not vote for President Trump, or you would?
I would not. The never in my never Trump means never. Now, look, if Pete Buttigieg is the nominee or if Joe Biden is the nominee, I will vote for them, and I will come back 4 years later and I will try to defeat them with Nikki Haley or some other good, responsible conservative.
Really?
If it is Bernie Sanders, my mom gets my vote.
So, Joe Biden, so if this is about values and being good people, in addition to good values as expressed in policy preferences and policy choices, how do you square your value system with Joe Biden, who's a known plagiarist? Lying. Oh, my goodness. Where to begin and end with Joe Biden, in addition to all of the policy preferences that are in the direction of lawlessness, redistribution, and
family favors,
and international surrender to despots.
Like
the Iran nuclear deal, which Bill Kristol opposed.
What you're saying just completely doesn't make any sense to me.
Is that right?
Joe,
which part?
It doesn't. What is
which
lawlessness?
Part?
Well, lawlessness.
Joe Biden on Thursday gave a speech, a foreign policy speech at CUNY in New York, where he talked about respecting no borders. He is trying to walk the line, so to speak, on this whole border security matter because he is getting, of course, assailed from the left. So he's taking positions that are untenable and illogical, just as so many Julian Castro is. I'm for decriminalization, but I'm not for open borders. That's about where Joe Biden is. So square that with your values.
So it's funny because I don't know which speech you're talking about, but I would not say that is where Joe Biden is. I think where Julian Castro is, and where a lot of the Democrats are on immigration is pretty crazy. The idea that it's not that they say they're for open borders exactly. It's more that they don't have any affirmative plan for how to deal with immigration. And obviously we have to deal with immigration. And so, I'm not going to, you and I, if we had a conversation about policy, you and I are going to agree much more than I'm going to agree with Joe Biden. The question is can I tolerate Joe Biden for 4 years because I think that Trump is doing irreparable long-term damage. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 38, and I want there to be a Republican, responsible party that people will be willing to vote for. Donald Trump is destroying our party for just decades in the future. We will not recover from this presidency. You cannot live on white working-class voters alone. If he wants to double down on his base, I don't know, maybe he can win a second term, but the Republican Party will never be the same. Our conservative movement has been destroyed by this president who does not believe in free markets, who does have authoritarian tendencies, who believes in a broad expansion of executive power and rules by executive order. Everything that we've stood for, he undermines. And if a few policies where we agree is enough for you, then that's just the fundamental difference. It's not enough for me, and I am very scared about how dangerous he is for the long-term health of our party.
Yeah, I appreciate the place that's coming from, even though I disagree. But I mean, the idea of going to the other side to vote for one of these socialists or Joe Biden, who has been a liberal for 40 years in Congress and is now going to be captured, were he the nominee, were he the president of the United States, captured by a party that is being driven by socialists, is just a bridge way, way too far for me. But that's okay. We disagree. She's Sarah Longwell, publisher of The Bulwark. TheBulwark.com. Her column is on the breakup between Never Trumpers and Democrat socialists, if it happens. Sarah, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thanks. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I have been plagued with esophagus acid, and it burns the esophagus. I've had it for 30 years, and I've had doctors give me prescriptions for it and everything. I never got rid of it. I've been on the Balance of Nature for about 3.5, 4 months. It is completely gone. I didn't even notice it. It has to be the Balance of Nature because it's the only supplement I'm taking. And I just wanted you to know that because it's made a world of difference in my life. I just wanted to let you know.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
We'll take your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, if you want to respond to what Sarah Longwell had to say from the Never Trump perspective. Interesting. Got to hear it. The people out there that think that way, that are center right. If your business depends on a Sprinter or light-duty diesel, you can't afford to have just anyone care for your major investment in important equipment. From a single vehicle to an entire fleet, depend on the experts at Remke's Garage to fix your Sprinter, Duramax, Cummins, or Power Stroke vehicle. Only go to the expert at Remke's Garage. Remke's doesn't just fix problems, they find solutions. Remke's goal is making sure you never lose a dollar of business. That's why owner Joe Remke will customize a maintenance plan specific to your unique vehicle. Remke's Garage specializes in Sprinter and light-duty diesel vehicles. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty on all parts. They'll pick up, deliver, and offer you a loaner vehicle for free. Go to remkesgarage.com to schedule your free maintenance plan consultation. That's Remke's, REMKES, garage.com. Be sure to mention AM 560. Again, Remke's, spelled REMKES, garage.com.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Remember when you could pick up the phone and talk to a friendly voice for technical difficulties?
Yeah, now it's a help desk on the other side of the planet that knows nothing about my business and usually isn't much help at all.
I got stuck in a help chat room the other day, and it was endless back and forth. I don't think they ever really understood or cared about my issue.
It's tough to get great technical help these days. To find people that really care and invest in your success. That's what Turnkey IT does. And you can rely on them to take care of everything IT. as if they were right by your side, but without the expense of an in-house IT department. Get to know the local team members at Turnkey IT that continue to serve businesses just like yours, from 1 to 200 employees. A friendly face with a personal touch that's close by and believes your word really means something. For only $7.95 per month, you can have local IT help and forget about dealing with computer and network problems forever.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
So you sit down and do your budget, and you look at all your monthly costs and your bills and your income, and it seems like there's never quite enough. You know what would really help? Finding $500 a month to help balance things out. That is the typical savings, $500 a month for a family when you switch to MediShare for your health care. And when it comes to healthcare sharing ministries, MediShare is really the gold standard. It's been around for 25 years and has more than 400,000 members. It's been around so long and grown so much because it works. And whether you're single or married or have kids, this could make sitting down to do a monthly budget a lot more fun. $500 a month can more than cover a car payment or pay back loans, whatever. So join MediShare and go out to dinner to celebrate. Here's the number to call. They are incredibly kind and helpful to talk to. 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
He doesn't like the word raids. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The acting head of Customs and Border Protection, Mark Morgan, firing back on criticism of an immigration roundup that was supposed to start yesterday, telling Fox.
These are target enforcement action against people who are criminal aliens or those who have had due process and have a final order of removal and have still refused to comply with that and remain here illegally.
But so far, there are no reports of any big roundups in major cities that Democrats are attacking, especially those running for president. Amy Klobuchar told ABC's This Week.
It's not about getting people who are security risks deported. It's about scaring everyone in the country.
There's a new Trump administration rule barring migrants from Central American countries from seeking asylum here if they traveled through another country like Mexico first. Immigrant advocates call it a cruel attempt to keep immigrants out. There's a new tweet moments ago from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez reacting to what President Trump tweeted over the weekend about she and 3 other Democrats, calling it outright racism and white supremacist language. President Trump's firing back. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
President Trump keeping up his attacks on 4 freshman progressives in the House of Representatives, writing on Twitter, if Democrats want to unite around the foul language and racist hatred spewed from the mouths and actions of these very unpopular and unrepresentative congresswomen, it will be interesting to see how it plays out. The president's Twitter comments over the weekend in which he suggested that all 4 congresswomen should go back to the crime-infested countries from which they came have been condemned as racist by many Democrats. Dave?
John, thousands lost power. Some homes did flood, but Louisiana was spared the disaster feared when hurricane then tropical storm Barry hits.
This was a storm, obviously, that could have played out very, very differently.
Governor John Bell Edwards. Barry's now a depression moving inland north. There's some flooding concerns. Texas over to Tennessee. In Colorado, a man out hiking a trail on Bear Peak with his wife was killed yesterday when he was struck by lightning, taking a direct hit. She was injured by the current in the bolt, but survived. This is Fox News.
Sunshine in Chicago, 8:02 is our time on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. It's going to be more than just hot this week in Chicago. Dangerously hot, according to the National Weather Service, by Friday, when heat index numbers will jump near 110. A Milwaukee-bound Amtrak train was involved in a deadly wreck. It happened yesterday in Morton Grove. Amtrak says none of the 254 people on board the Hiawatha train were hurt. Chicago police are searching for 2 people wanted for questioning in a deadly stabbing over the weekend on a CTA Red Line train. It happened near the 100 block of West Cermak Road. The person who stabbed Troy Johnson to death got off the train at the Cermak Chinatown stop. Another strategy being used to try and capture that alligator in Chicago's Humboldt Park Lagoon. City's Animal Care and Control has closed the eastern half of the park in order to prevent crowds from gathering. That may offer up some delays for those dropping off or picking up for summer camps at nearby park facilities. There was some tension over the weekend over the possibility of immigration raids taking place in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says the city is not cooperating with federal police.
We will not, as a city, do anything to facilitate the heartless work of ICE, who's been weaponized by this president.
Dozens of volunteers fanned out across the city yesterday to try and disrupt any immigration and customs enforcement activity. Cubs over the Pirates 8-3, A's over the White Sox 3-2 in Oakland. It's 8:03, time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. And time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network. Here is Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, it's Amazon Prime Day, the big summer sale, which will last for 48 hours this year. JP Morgan is estimating Amazon could generate more than $5 billion for the company. Retail analyst Heatha Herzog of H-Squared Research says Amazon uses today to retain its Prime members and sign up new ones.
What they're trying to do, especially with new Prime members or people that aren't Prime members yet, they want to make sure that that membership increases. So, they have this Amazon Prime concert. They're really trying to go and kind of take market share away from the Target customers, the Walmart customers. So there's that big push.
An estimated 250 other retailers are also doing sales today. We're seeing some impact from the trade dispute with China. This spring, China's economy slowed to the weakest growth since the 90s. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
Business is a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees retaliation from the president.
The shooting down in international waters of a drone, an American drone, by Iran. I know a lot of people expected the loose cannon Donald Trump to race out there and go out and bomb them to smithereens. Oh, I think a response is coming, by the way.
I have no doubt a response is coming.
But it will be on his time.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Misty May Trainer. As a 3-time gold medalist beach volleyball world champion, I had access to the world's best trainers and doctors. But now I'm retired, a busy mom of 3, coach volleyball, and I want my legs to look as good as possible. So when I noticed the veins on my legs, I wanted the same world-class treatment I was used to.
So Misty May joined the over 1 million women and men who went to Vein Clinics of America for over 35 years. The doctors at Vein Clinics of America have been the leading experts in the non-invasive treatment of vein disease. If you're experiencing tired, painful, tender legs, or have lost your confidence due to those embarrassing varicose and spider veins, you can get world-class treatment for your legs in the Chicagoland area.
My experience with Vein Clinics of America was amazing. I got my legs back, and I'm ready to hit the beach again feeling confident.
Call Vein Clinics of America now to see if you qualify for a free consultation. Most treatments are covered by insurance. Call 800-514-5100. 800-514-5100. That's 800-514-5100.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stocked by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
8:07 AM 560 traffic center time. And here is Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays start around Central. It's 45 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 32 from Montrose, 23 on the Express, and outbound 45 to the airport. It's 22 minutes Lake Cook Junction, Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 38 from Manheim. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to the drive. Right, 39 minutes from 95th. I-57, 18 minutes, side east of the merge, Bishopport 16. Northbound tri-state delays are 95th to LaGrange Road from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. The Reagan Tollway to the Vansonville Bridge. But Adams Tollway, it's slow going Lee to the tri-state. Reagan Tollway, 59 to 355 and 83 to Roosevelt. Veterans Memorial, I-55 to Roosevelt. The Army Trail toll to 290. It's traffic. I'm Chip Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and some sun. It'll be hot and humid today. Breezy by the afternoon, the high 92. Partly cloudy warm tonight and a low 74. Cloudy warm and humid tomorrow. Thunderstorm, high 86. And then clouds and sun. It'll be hot and humid on Wednesday, the high 91. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
77 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So I felt from the response we're getting via email and Twitter and screaming outside the studio and so forth that we should give people a chance to respond to our interview at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour with Sarah Longwell from thebulwark.com. She made a lot of assertions about Trump, as a never-Trumper you might expect would. But I've, and you have to deal with people who think this way, and on balance, doing the balancing test and saying, no, I'm not going to support Trump, or going so far as to say, not only am I not going to support Trump, if the Dems nominate somebody like Mayor Pete or Biden, I will vote for them and then hope to try to defeat them in 4 years.
But she put in her piece, because if never Trump type Republicans want a candidate whose policies broadly align with their own preferences, they have one. His name is Donald J. Trump. That's
Right.
why I asked her, I said, if the election's tomorrow, what would you do?
Right, but then she went on in the piece to argue, but those the alignment of policy preferences isn't enough because he doesn't have the character for the job. And she made a lot of assertions. Some were based in fact, and some were not. But take some calls on it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. One thing just to imagine is where we would be in this country had Trump not won.
Oh, yeah.
And now you could, you have to play this out a couple different ways. So he doesn't win. Republicans have the House. So they act as an impediment to Hillary Clinton going full socialist. Yeah, maybe they don't take the House midterm. And so you still have the House Republicans to block. But on so many matters, would the House Republicans really block? And what about those Supreme Court justices?
Oh, they'd be Democrat. Yeah.
Well, and talking about the impact of the administration and what will, the things good, bad, and indifferent that will extend well beyond Donald Trump's presidency, well beyond his life for that matter, and making those assessments now. You want never-Trumpers who, as she wrote, generally align with the policy preferences to be in the fold. I mean, I think some of this polling coming out now that suggests, these polls are so stupid. But anyway, they generate they're like clickbait, and they generate a lot of pontificating by know-nothing pundits. But the national polls is, he's down to Warren by 7, and he's down to Kamala by 1, and so on and so forth. They don't mean anything. I'm glad he's down. I'm glad he's down to these Democrats, because even though you are seeing this parade of horribles, and you can't believe that any one of them could be president, they could. And so you better be as motivated as the Dem socialists are come 2020. So I like seeing Trump down right now, knowing that those polling numbers don't mean anything, knowing that we're 16 months out, knowing that it's a state-to-state contest, knowing the infrastructure Trump has, and knowing just how far afield most of these candidates are on most of the issues if those cases are prosecuted properly against them. but you got to stay motivated, and you take nothing for granted. This is a fight, and the other side, as you've seen on the streets of Portland, is in full battle gear, figuratively and literally, yes. Kent in Aurora, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
She kept using the phrase, no number of judges would get her to vote for Trump. And I just thought, how short-sighted is that? A Supreme Court judge, that's 25, 45 years down the road. I only hope for one or two good judges from Trump and basically threw to the wind any other good things he might give us compared to Hillary.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call, Ken.
Well, Merrick Garland would be a Supreme Court justice if Hillary won.
Look, I mean, I am not unsympathetic to the idea that I don't have to play the lesser of two evils game. And so those are different judgment calls. But it's one thing when you don't want to play the lesser of two evils game when it's George H.W. Bush who betrayed the party, betrayed his promises, and then you have a third option in Ross Perot, and it's 1992. I understand that. That's why when we talked about Ross Perot's passing last week, Ross Perot didn't elect Bill Clinton. George H.W. Bush elected Bill Clinton, and you have to own that. He had an opportunity. He failed to live up to what he said he would do. In fact, he did a 180 in key areas, and he frittered away the presidency. Well, that's not the case here. And it looks like it is going to be a binary. It doesn't look like Howard Schultz is mounting much of a third-party run, at least at this point. No. And so thinking about that binary, and I don't care, pick one. Spin the wheel and pick one. It doesn't matter who it is.
I just hope he doesn't tweet himself out of the Oval Office.
Well, I understand.
That tweet he said yesterday about, telling liberal congresswomen of color to leave, go back to their countries of origin.
Yeah, but there's something else Sarah Longwell said that's not true. He tweeted that because they're brown. That's not why he tweeted it.
No, he didn't.
He tweeted it because they are anti-American Harridans. Right. That's why he tweeted it.
Yeah, he didn't care about the color of their skin, trust me.
Right. That no one is off limits when they come after Trump. It doesn't matter what your profile is. It doesn't matter what your intersectional score is. If you come after Trump, and frankly, by extension, if you run down America and you're somebody of profile or somebody that would be politically advantageous for Trump to fire back at, then incoming. Joe in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
If you boil it down to one of two camps, everything that Trump has been doing has been pro-America, pro-growth, self-reliance. Every single thing that the other party has done in the media has been pro-criminal. You can break it down to that very easily. Let's not support ICE. Let's not deport people who have retainers. You could go on and on. Let 50% of the population in prison vote via Joe Biden. It's a pro-criminal versus a pro-growth America policies. It's a very easy battle to draw the lines.
Thanks for the call, Joe. And we offered another way to frame it back in the 6 o'clock hour, the difference between the two Bernies. Capitalist Bernie Marcus, founder of Home Depot, and Bolshevik Bernie Sanders, who basically has taken over the Democrat Party. It's just not him anymore, as it was in 16. You've got the socialist Spice Girls now, where all the energy is, but it's Bernie who's taken over the party. Socialism is the organizing principle of the Democrat Party across all of the issues, not just government takeover of healthcare, everything. So your choice, Bernie the capitalist, who built a $6 billion business that employed 500,000 people that represent the great expanse of diversity in America. And, oh, by the way, is giving away $6 billion and leveraging his charitable work to get others to be philanthropic as well. On the left, much the same way that Buffett and Gates and others are doing. Fine. Or you have the de Blasio Bernie approach. Plenty of money in this country in the wrong hands. Or what Bernie Sanders said on Meet the Press yesterday.
You know what, Chuck? Here's a promise I will make to you. When the poor get richer and the rich get poorer.
When the poor get rich and the richer get poorer, then he'll start saying something other than he's saying to finish his thought. He blathered on for a while before he got to it. When the poor get richer and the rich get poorer, economics is a zero-sum game. And the way that you deal with it is through confiscation and redistribution. That's another way to frame the 2020 choice as well. I have a hard time. I mean, I would love to hear people that, frankly, are more intellectually deaf than Sarah Longwell, some of her site's founders like Charlie Sykes and Bill Kristol, explain away that position to me, because that's not just Bernie Sanders' position or Bill de Blasio's position. It's the position of the Democrat Socialist Party writ large. And I don't appreciate her just saying, oh, tax cuts is not enough for me, like just waving that away.
That was a big accomplishment.
It is.
And deregulations for businesses. I mean, that was a huge accomplishment.
That's why.
Forgot about that.
And right, which is what's been a proximate cause of the 3% GDP growth over the last year and a half. That's real. And the continued low unemployment and the wages increasing substantially for the first time this century. Those are real things. It's not the only thing. And I like appeals to the transcendental too. I'm not just an economic man, just as nobody should be an economic man or economic woman. We're not one dimensional, but you can't just wave it away like it was nothing. Sharon in Palos Hills.
Hi, Dan, Amy. I just wanted to say, why does the left just not get Donald Trump's rhetoric? This is just rhetoric. That's it. Okay. And they should be able to distinguish it. It's been 3 years now. They need to figure it out.
Thanks for the call, Sharon. Appreciate it. I mean, I know some of his rhetoric strikes you the wrong way, Amy, and it does me too. And you're the President of the United States. You're a politician. You're responsible for what you say, and you have to suffer the consequences for saying things that are incorrect or intemperate. Trump's done both, I think.
And remember, he was a reality TV star for 13 years. He does flamboyant, provocative things, such as, coming in on the Trump helicopter and questioning President Obama's birth certificate.
He's done a lot of goofy things, which is why I wasn't on board when he rode down that escalator back in 2015. I was not on board. And this is also why I tried to get Sarah Longwell to distinguish between tweets and actual substantive policy choices that have been made. Regardless of in the 24-hour social media obsessed world in which we live, every utterance being repeated by somebody or reported by somebody, whether it's true or in the according to the Michael Wolff standard, it just sounds true, so we should probably believe it is true. Difficult to know what is and what isn't, but some of the things that have gone out under Trump's name, not things that I would send out, not communications I like, but there's sort of his impulses when he has a tantrum or when he's trying to triangulate somebody politically. He's getting mad on purpose, so to speak. To say that's, to use those words like authoritarian is just a mischaracterization. It's a misnomer. It's a misapplication. Authoritarianism connotes certain regimes in history and a certain sort of regime, and it's nothing like that on the ground under President Trump. All of the hysteric apocalyptic predictions about the nuclear war, nuclear holocaust, and every other plague that was going to befall the Western world were he elected or when he was elected, they just haven't come true. You know why? Because the founders were smart and there's checks and balances, and it's complicated, and there's a lot of disagreements, and Congress and by definition can't get things done normally very hastily, which is generally a good thing. You want speed bumps along the road to legislating and policymaking. So I just, I'd be more compelled by some of the things that she and maybe some other Never Trumpers have to say if they didn't always wildly overstate the case, as well as wildly understate the case of how damaging a Hillary would have been or anybody running on the left in 2020 would be. Mike in Crossville.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. I used to listen to you all the time writing the Union Pacific Crystal Lake downtown, and now I'm in Tennessee.
Oh, congratulations.
And, I just
really downtown.
Yeah, I couldn't see paying the state of Illinois over $100,000 in the next 10 years just for the privilege of living in the state. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, following up on what you were talking about, I caught the interview kind of halfway through. I'm listening on iHeartRadio. And one thing I noticed was just what you alluded to was the alarmist tone. The sky is falling, the emotional, her emotional need to be attached to her politicians. I don't know about you. I have a healthy skepticism on all politicians.
Yes.
So I would vote for a Democrat if they had policies, but I just can't do it. So she was willing to elect a Dem in the hope of electing Nikki Haley, for example, in 4 years. How childish is that?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Mike. Also, the racist thing, too. I mean, point of order.
She kept saying that over, that he's a racist.
His vote totals in 2016 among black voters were higher than Romney's. Among Latino voters, they were the same. His approval rating has gone up among Latinos and to some extent black voters as well. I mean, it's not a majority, but they've gone up. I mean, above traditional Republicans of, say, the last, certainly Romney and McCain. I mean, George W. Bush got 44% of the Latino vote in 2004 against Kerry. He also had the luxury of running against John Kerry. Verlon on the South Side.
First, I want to say, Amy, I'm glad to hear that your son is doing good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Verlon. He's home from the hospital, so that's good.
Cool. Now, respectfully, Dad, I want to say that Never Trumper lady that you just had on the show, she's a buffoon.
Okay.
You mean to tell me that you're gonna sit here and say you'll vote for Joe Biden, somebody that signed his name to racist policies and promoted racist policies, over somebody like Trump that says things that you may interpret to be racist? Listen, Donald Trump only said that it basically the way I interpreted it, okay, maybe I have a different interpretation than other people. He said that if you identify culturally basically with where you're descended from, whether it's Somalia, whether it's from wherever Talib from in Africa, AOC, she identifies with Hispanic,
Puerto Rico.
How can I say Venezuela? Yeah, but she's from Puerto Rico, but she identifies with policies that's from Venezuela and extreme countries. If you identify with those policies, go check it out. Go over there to those countries and see how good those policies are doing for those people. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for the call, Verlon. Ron and Carol Stream.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. Your last guest was mentioning that Trump is ruling by executive order. Well, I looked it up, and Obama actually signed 277 executive orders versus Trump's 77 right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. Thanks for the call, Ron. If the executive orders were the standard by which Trump was to be judged as an authoritarian, then what do you say about Barack Obama, who, by the way, wooed many of the center right that are never Trumpers now too? And how did those 8 years work out for us? George Will, even the late great Charles Krauthammer. Yeah, I mean, I don't like governance by executive order either, but I also recognize the power the executive possesses per the Constitution in a range of areas, most notably immigration. And I like the president's exercise of his legitimate executive power in those areas, in addition to over personnel. There's nothing unconstitutional or authoritarian about that. Tony on the Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I caught the tail end of that interview, and I can't believe what world some of these pundits live in. First of all, she talked about destroying the Republican Party. Before Trump came along, it looked like the Republicans weren't going to win another election in our generation. And these never Trumpers, they hate Trump, I think, as much as the Democrats do. And also, towards the end of her interview, she threw out aside some negative opinion about the Trump's base, the working class, and
yes, right.
It came across very negative. And in the end, none of us are experts in all this ins and outs. But you mentioned that yourself. The option is, if it wasn't for Trump, we'd be looking at Hillary, looking forward to another 4 years.
Thanks for the call, Tony. And I'm glad you brought that back up, too. I didn't appreciate the haughtiness with which you talk about, the white working class is not going to be enough for the future of America. Nobody's arguing that. Nobody's promoting that. Was Trump promoting the white working class when he was in Charlotte a few days before the election and speaking to a largely black audience specifically made the point, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose with taking a chance on me and what I'm saying in terms of how to revitalize urban centers? And remember, he had specific things he was going to do, he wanted to do in that direction, even though it's largely not a federal issue, but a state and local issue. Yeah, nobody's saying that it's only that. And I don't like when people on our side are playing the identity politics of the left. I mean, he got 46%, what was it? 46% of the female vote.
Yeah.
Trump did. 30 million women voted for Trump. Are they all white working class? No. It's a bit of a caricature. Mike in Geneva.
This has been great dialogue, and I think the key is people like Sarah Longwell breed people like AOC and Omar because it distracts people from the real arguments, and they'll make you focus on Trump's inadequacies and not talk about the main things. And we can't afford another 4 years. If Biden comes in, AOC and those people will just push the door wide open. You'll get all sorts of stuff. We don't have the luxury of time. It's a fantasy to think that you could elect a Biden or someone else and then hope to do better. You have to do better right now. She's not wrong. Trump is flawed, majorly flawed.
Yeah.
Show me the better candidate. I will vote for that candidate. But we cannot wait for that. And she's not doing us any favors by bringing up things like that.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. We'll switch gears at 8:38 and talk about the dissension in the ranks on the other side, on the left, as well as whether or not Hillary Clinton is going to have to change her status on Facebook to "it's complicated" after those Epstein flight manifests showing Bill Clinton on the plane sans Secret Service materialized. We'll talk to Tom Lifson from American Thinker about that.
But first, let's head into the newsroom. For news here at home and around the world, here is the one and only Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. President Trump is not backing down, he says, from tweeting over the weekend concerning what he calls radical left congresswomen. This morning he asked when they will apologize to the country and to Israel for their foul language and terrible things that they have said. Arrests by federal police and immigration officers are still expected to take place this week, even though they seem to have been very low-key yesterday. A few people were reportedly rounded up, but seem to be routine activity for immigrations and customs enforcement police. The arrests were reportedly supposed to focus on illegal immigrants who had already been sent final orders of removal and around 2,000 who haven't turned themselves in. For the first time in nearly a year, a new case of Ebola has been confirmed in Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Sick pastor arrived in the city on Sunday. The ongoing Ebola outbreak in DRC is the second largest African Ebola outbreak in history. Wednesday is the deadline for the Justice Department to file charges in the Eric Garner chokehold case in New York City. That's when the 5-year statute of limitations will expire. Demonstrators will be in Washington, D.C. and New York today, urging feds to criminally charge the officer in that case with the chokehold death, who's charged Daniel Pantaleo with the chokehold death of Eric Garner on a Staten Island street corner back in July of 2014. It's going to be more than just hot in the Chicago area and most of the state this week. Dangerously hot with humidities soaring. Heat index numbers will go over the 100 mark early this week. As Tropical Storm Barry moves in on Tuesday, the remnants of it, we may see a downgraded temps, but then back up to heat index numbers closer to 110 by the end of the week. They're using another strategy to try to capture that alligator in Chicago's Humboldt Park lagoon. They're cordoning off half of the park to make the environment more calm and quiet. They're also bringing in a Florida alligator expert to help. Chicago sports. Cubs over the Pirates 8-3. A's over the White Sox 3-2. And the news, a service of Lowe's. Do it right to save 5% every day by shopping at Lowe's in-store or online. Save 5% on eligible purchases. just by using your Lowe's Advantage card. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Subject to credit approval, cannot be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. See store for details. U.S. only. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has had enough.
I am so sick of these un-American miscreants who hate this country so much that they want to strip every symbol of our nation's beginnings, its foundings, its origins. And you know what? We can push back too. We can push back with truth, with logic. I am fed up.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
No matter how well you provide for your family today, if you don't have life insurance, their future may be at risk. Think about what would happen if you were gone. Would they struggle to pay the bills and face an uncertain future? They don't have to. You can help guarantee those you love $200,000, $500,000, $750,000 or more with life insurance through AIG Direct. We'll help you get more for your money, up to 70% more. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. Just look, you could get $250,000 of term life coverage for as little as $14 a month. It's no wonder millions of people rely on AIG companies. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation. Make the future more secure for those you love. Call now so you can sleep better at night. For a free quote, call 1-800-900-1303. That's 1-800-900-1303. 1-800-900-1303.
My name is David Hochberg. If you'd like to pay off debt, call Team Hochberg now about a cash-out refinance. During May, Team Hochberg helped listeners access $953,000 to pay off credit cards, student loans, car loans, medical bills, collections, and IRS tax liens, which saved them close to $19,000 a month. Since January, Team Hochberg has saved listeners over $74,000 a month, which is an annualized savings of over $888,000. What are you waiting for? Call Team Hochberg now to see if we can help you pay off debt and substantially reduce your monthly payments with a cash-out refinance. Think of all the things you could do with an extra $500, $1,000, or $1,500 a month that you'd be saving. Call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
It is 8:36. Let's jump into the AM 560 traffic center for the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Eden's outbound delays are most of the way from Montrose to Winnetka Road. It's 40 minutes to Lake Cook, inbound 20. Kennedy O'Hare to downtown, 41 minutes. 31 from Montrose, 23 in the Express. Outbound 43 to the airport. Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 38 from Manheim. Outbound 52 minutes to 390. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40. Ryan, 39 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, it's jammed. 120 to Deerfield Road. Northbound delays are 95th to LaGrange Road. The Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. The Reagan Tollway to the Toohey Toll Plaza. Northbound Veterans Memorial, it's heavy. I-55 to Roosevelt, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Hot and humid today, clouds and sun mixed. A little breezy this afternoon, high 92, 74 overnight, warm and humid. Rain and maybe a thunderstorm tomorrow. The remnants of Tropical Depression Barry may be working its way through the Great Lakes, high 86. 77 right now. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The Jeffrey Epstein story continues to widen, and that's good news. because it exposes the rank hypocrisy that exists at places like Harvard University with a multi-billion-dollar endowment, right?
Oh, that's right.
Will they be returning Jeffrey Epstein's millions of dollars in donations to Harvard? Not yet, they certainly aren't. What about their commitment to Me Too, hashtag? What about...
Didn't they get rid of a professor who was going to be defending Jeffrey Weinstein?
Defending Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, right. Yes. They absolutely did.
They better not think for a second about... They have to return that money.
Well, they
or
did.
Donate it to a certain cause. Or...
They didn't the first time. Epstein made a $6.5 million donation in 2003 to Harvard University's program for evolutionary dynamics, and additional pledges of up to $30 million. He supported several professors, frequently described himself as a Harvard investor. When he was charged with soliciting sex in 2006, Harvard's president said that Epstein's gifts would not be returned.
Oh.
Only in extreme cases would the university refuse contributions from questionable sources. This time, Harvard spokesman Jonathan Swain said the university does not comment on individual gifts or their status.
Oh, they don't.
Oh, of course they don't. They would if they were going to virtue signal about how principled they are and return the money. Don't you think they'd make a big show of that? Sure they would. So throw dear old Harvard into the mix here of the rich and powerful who found no problem counting Jeffrey Epstein among their benefactors and friends. New York Times reporting, in 2010, the year after he got out of Florida jail, convicted felon, registered sex offender, you can quibble with the deal, but that was part of it. Year after he got out of that Florida jail, Katie Couric and George Stephanopoulos dined at his Manhattan mansion with a British royal. The next year, Epstein was photographed at a billionaire's dinner attended by the likes of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. A page popped up at Harvard lauding his accomplishments. His dedication of $10 million to charitable causes generally. Powerful female friends served as social guarantors. This is the New York Times reporting. Peggy Siegel, gatekeeper for A-list events, included him in movie screenings. Dr. Eva Anderson Dubin, a champion of women's health, maintained a friendship that some felt gave him credibility. He put a website showing Stephen Hawking and other luminaries at a science gathering he had organized. Right? This is the old story that we've seen repeated throughout when it is powerful individuals at the center, usually men, but individuals at the center of these scandals, or in the case of Epstein, criminal enterprises.
And he's going to be in court today for a bond hearing, and it's going to be very interesting to see if the judge lets him out on bond.
You buy the privilege to be a barbarian. That's what it takes.
To his jet will let you out.
In the champagne socialist, sentimental barbarian circles, you can buy your way to do anything. And this is an unbelievably sickening tale of it, as is the Michael Jackson story, as is the ongoing R. Kelly story. And I hope this takes in as many culpable parties as possible, including tarnishing the thing they care about most, since they no longer have to care about money. The Tom Wolfe set, their reputations. That's what needs to be taken away from them, their reputations, not just Epstein. And that would include perhaps a former president named Clinton. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined again by Thomas Lifson. He's the editor and publisher of American Thinker, AmericanThinker.com, and he's written on this topic. Tom, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me on.
How about those manifests? Bill Clinton issued a statement in the few days after Epstein's arrest, an indictment that's, documented. We had these 4 flights. Secret Service was always there. One was for this, and another one was for that. But then information came out later last week that, there was at least 2 additional flights that were not included in Bill Clinton's statements. And, by the way, those apparently, according to the flight manifest, did not include Secret Service accompaniment either.
Right. That's my understanding as well. Now, that original statement that he made about 4 flights only was a typical Bill Clinton weaselly, misleading presentation where earlier he had specified the years 2002 to 2003, leaving out the other 24 times or so that he was on what's fondly called the Lolita Express. Obviously, Bill has a lot to worry about here. You know, the thing with Epstein, I heard your comments on Harvard taking his money and not giving it back, and that's very well taken point of view. Part of the problem, I think, from Harvard's point of view, is that I think the money was donated, in 2003 or 2004, something like that?
Yeah, one big chunk was, yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. It's already spent. And because of the way Harvard finances work, Harvard claims, with a great deal of justification, to be the world's first decentralized corporation. It's called the Harvard Corporation, formally, not Harvard University. That's what the official entity is. And all of the different faculties, like the law school, the business school, the medical school, and the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, which runs undergraduate Harvard as well as graduate programs, they're all financially independent. They all have their own endowments. When we talk about the $43 billion or whatever that's Harvard's endowment, that includes the individual endowments of the different faculties. And I believe the Epstein money was given for some kind of scientific research.
Yeah, right.
Which means that whichever faculty that was, probably the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, would have to come up with the $6.3 million. And
well, you know what?
Generally speaking, academic institutions don't have piles of money sitting around.
Yeah, you know what? My heart bleeds for Harvard. It really does. But here's the thing. I'm not really interested. I mean, just my perspective on it. I don't really care about Harvard's processes or how it's structured legally. You know what? You want to come up with the money and you're Harvard, then you can have one of the bigger donor funds come up with $6 million or $10 million or whatever it is, which is a pittance to clear or to try to protect something approximating your good name. I just find that all sort of weaselly too.
Sure.
You want to come up with the money, you can do it, right?
And they're absolutely hypocrites about this. It's just that getting the bureaucratic wheels, the gears to turn, it takes some time, especially when they have to cough up money. I spent nearly 20 years at Harvard as a student and then as a faculty member, and I can tell you that the process is everything, just as it is in the federal bureaucracy and, everywhere.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but how did that process work out for Ronald Sullivan?
Well, yes, exactly. It's different strokes for different folks. But, of course, no cash was involved in that, coughing up the cash, getting the check signed, getting the disbursal approved by the office of the Harvard treasurer and so forth. I'm not justifying them. I'm just telling you that it's going to take more pressure and more time. My guess is that they will cough it up.
Yeah.
I've seen them turn down money when it was offered. That happened while I was there. I don't need to go into the circumstances, but a professor solicited a couple $1 million from somebody that the university believed to be a gangster, and he very proudly presented the check to Harvard, and Harvard said, no thanks, and the professor left his tenured position.
Wow.
So it does happen.
Sure.
But this is a question of people all looking at each other with the facial expression, who, me, come up with this money?
Well, but the other question here, going back to the Epstein case writ large, is where do prosecutors take this? Particularly prosecutors, I mean, I understand this at the federal level now, but after what's happened to Alex Acosta, after what we know Cy Vance did in Manhattan, or more to the point, didn't do. So now it seems to me there's incredible pressure on prosecutors to get all the co-conspirators, including the women that worked for Epstein, who facilitated, recruited, targeted these girls that were used, and anybody who partook, like perhaps Bill Clinton.
Absolutely. No, I think that's underway. There's a lot of skepticism and well-deserved skepticism among conservatives that this will ever see the light of day, that, money talks and there's so many powerful people compromised that this will be hushed up. I understand that, and I'm often equally cynical myself, but keep two things in mind. There are, about 30 women now in their full adulthood who were abused that we know of, probably more, but there were quite a few women who are adults now who are willing to speak out. One of them was on NBC last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
They will have compelling testimony to make.
And
second,
2 were paid off.
Some of them were, and some of them will keep silent, but others of them won't, because this is a different time. Me Too has changed the discussion. It's very difficult to hush these things up when there are living victims willing to speak out.
Well, and Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt, but also Jeffrey Epstein is facing never being able to go back to that island. So he may
St. James.
He's got a lot of incentive to name names too.
Yes, well, that's the thing. The way prosecutors work is they go for the bigger fish. And right now, Epstein's the big fish compared to the enablers like the alleged role of Ghislaine Maxwell in this. And there's another young woman who is believed to have acted as a procuress that Bill Clinton's been photographed with. So there are a lot of dimensions to this. But the thing that speaks to me is that when Epstein, first of all, keep in mind that 2,000 documents were released by the prosecutors in Florida after a lawsuit. That happened on July 2nd, I believe. Epstein was arrested 4 days later. So it appears that those 2,000 documents that were released fell into the hands of the Southern District of New York in New York City. Federal prosecutors, and they quickly put together what's called a placeholder indictment on just the charges that they felt dead certain they could convict him on. While they went through the rest of the material, they arrested him, they broke down the doors of his mansion, and they took the material from his vault, which it has been published. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but that include child pornography.
Right.
So now they've got him, and they've got some of his documents that implicate him and maybe other people. And so now they work up the food chain. Now, who's a bigger get than a former president of the United States?
Current president. Is President Trump, is he going to be associated with any of this?
I'm very, very skeptical. You probably have already discussed on air how Trump threw him out of and banned him from Mar-a-Lago.
Right, 15
because
years
he put
ago.
the moves on a 14-year-old daughter of one of his staff members. And that was, 14 years ago, 15 years ago?
Right. Yeah,
and
right.
Plus, Trump is nobody's fool. He may have his peccadillos that we're all too familiar with, but I don't think he's the kind of dummy that gets in bed where he can be photographed. And I don't see any sign whatsoever that he has any pedophile inclinations. He likes his women mature and busty.
Well, thank you. Words for the day, mature and busty.
Mature and busty.
Thank you.
That was the name of Amy's girl group in high school. It was Bangles cover band. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Thomas Lifson, editor and publisher of The American Thinker. Check out his pieces on the Epstein investigation as well as Trump trolling the Socialist Spice Girls and Pelosi. Good stuff, as always, at AmericanThinker.com. Tom, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I've been holding off on buying vitamins because I figure, you know what? All the vitamins I need are going to be in the fruits and vegetable supplements. I'm not going to bore you to tears with recanting all my health issues and what have you, but I will tell you this. There's already improvement, and it's a really amazing transition. It's really nice to get hooked up with an organization of people that understand where real help comes from. This will make a great commercial, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Are you a company looking to grow your manufacturing team and hire new exceptional candidates? Turn to Monarch Technical Services, leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. Monarch will recruit top talent for your company by verifying skill sets using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Their vetting process is the most unique in the industry, with a former plant manager as their quality skills assessor. He knows who's who since he was involved in the day-to-day programming and operation of CNC equipment, along with managing the manufacturing process. Monarch takes pride in every candidate they represent. Their quality and customer service are the best in Chicagoland. If you're a business growing your manufacturing team and searching for exceptional candidates, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221 or visit them online at monarchtechnical.com. And if you're interested in starting a career in manufacturing or have experience, call 847-342-1221 or visit monarchtechnical.com. Every company has unique shipping challenges. Whether it's managing time-sensitive 1- and 2-day deliveries, reducing truckload and LTL spend, or managing a large number of shipments at one time without enough staff to track it all. At Yellowstone Logistics, they manage customer shipments so you can focus on your own business. As part of the $2 billion a year Global Trans Network, Yellowstone offers their customers access to over 30,000 18-wheelers, 50 LTL network carriers, and access to hundreds of Sprinter van and box trucks that can manage your time-sensitive shipments 7 days a week. Yellowstone Logistics specializes in managing their customers' time-sensitive 1- and 2-day deliveries and provides reporting on delivery progress as frequently as needed to manage your or your customers' reporting expectations. Visit them today at YellowstoneLogistics.com and see how they can help you manage your logistics needs. YellowstoneLogistics.com. Call 847-213-9329.
AM 560, The Answer.
Day 6, alligator watch. And
so ridiculous.
Well, they have a name. The alligator has a name. And somebody had called in and suggested that to Chance the Snapper. And Chance the Rapper, when he landed in Chicago, he said, just landed and found out I got an alligator. Did you hear him? He's in Humboldt Park. He's dangerous.
If you run across this gator, what are you going to do?
Oh, man. Give it some Gatorade.
I don't even think I've seen a gator in real life, but if I do see one, I intend on Steve Irwing that thing right into the water and bring it back to where it belongs.
Okay, good luck with that, big guy. Bob the Gator. Remember Alligator Bob that we introduced you to last week because you love this story so
You know what
much.
I love? I love the man on the street interviews because it helps to remind me why we have the political representation we have. Now I get it.
Well, Alligator Bob never caught an alligator, so they actually brought in a professional from Florida. And he said, guess what the first problem is? The crowds are too large. So last night at 9 o'clock, they cut off the parking lot to the boathouse just to get people away because it could be a safety issue if he climbs up on the sidewalk and starts chomping on people. So roll your eyes one more.
Oh my gosh! I mean, this story is.
Well, they're diverting a lot of funds to this. Muller Lightfoot went to visit Humboldt Park in the lagoon yesterday. In between, trying to stop ice raids that never happened.
How about trying to keep people safe in Humboldt Park? That's not exactly the safest neighborhood in the city. I mean, it's not Inglewood, but it's got problems too. I mean, it's just. We are so susceptible to the bread and circuses in the city. It's remarkable to me. All these idiotic stories. It's an alligator, like you've seen in zoos, or you've seen if you've been in Florida on a golf course or in a natural area. I mean, good grief. This is captivating the city's imagination.
This is.
It's a city without imagination then.
Well, because people have never seen an alligator, not like you that could afford to fly to Florida.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
For places.
It's just so fascinating.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands because it's the summer months and there's not a lot to do. So people are flocking there, but they're telling people stay away until we can get the gator. They're trying to entice them in with rat bait.
Thanks for that public service announcement. I've got one of my own. Hollywood apparently is no longer interested in making money. You know how I know? James Bond is, the new 007 is going to be a woman. A British actress named Lashana Lynch, who I guess had some role in the Captain Marvel movie. I didn't see it yet. Yeah.
So does that mean what would be the hot, sexy Bond girl is going to be a hot, sexy Bond guy?
Why?
If Bond is a girl.
Why can't it be a girl? It's about time it was a girl, right? So Megan Rapinoe can be the Bond girl. Lashana Lynch's Bond is 007. And then, then Rapinoe is the Bond girl. Now, that's only if she doesn't accept the job that was offered to her by Jay Inslee this weekend. This guy, this is a governor of a state, Washington.
Yeah, I know. Who said his greatest accomplishment was that his 8-year-old daughter still liked him.
Well, he's added to his memorable quotes. Jay Inslee at the Netroots Nation convention this weekend.
Maybe one of the first acts as president is I had to think about getting a Secretary of State who has asked us to embrace more unity across the world and more love rather than hate. So my first act will be to ask Megan Rapinoe to be my Secretary of State.
So painful.
I haven't asked her yet, so this could be a surprise to her.
Oh, no, knock it off.
I actually believe this because...
Yeah, I actually believe this. No, I believe you do believe it, you knucklehead. Related story, just as a reminder. Did you see the Ghostbusters all-female cast?
Yeah.
Remember the sequel to that one?
No.
Exactly, because it lost $70 million. So, Ian Fleming, thank goodness you've been in the ground for 50 years so you don't have to see what's happened to your franchise, because Lashana Lynch will play 007 in the new James Bond movie and perhaps the last James Bond movie.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, who is Megan Rapinoe's stylist. We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now here is Mike Scott.
Blue skies and sunshine, but dangerous heat for the week here in the Chicago area. A mother and 2 sons killed in a murder-suicide in Elmhurst. Cubs beat the Pirates. A's edge the White Sox. WIND, Chicago News Time 9.